start trying to create content and start streaming. If it wasn't for Black Ops 3, the Geek Slays probably wouldn't exist. Many of the people I call my best friends now literally wouldn't be in my life if it wasn't for this game. Now, despite all the time that has passed, Black Ops 3 manages to remain at the forefront of COD discourse even a decade after its release. It's truly fascinating. I could argue many of the game's elements were at their best, most polished states in Black Ops 3. Its very nature is unique, but that leaves it feeling disconnected from all of the other Call of Duty games. Black Ops 3 truly is one of those games where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. As in, when you consider the game in its entirety instead of just some of its pieces, it becomes something totally different. Black Ops 3 is by far the most unique game in the COD franchise, without a doubt. Whether you love or hate this game, Black Ops 3 was a one-in-a-million experience that gave us all a lot to talk about. I think it will surprise no one to hear that Black Ops 3 had one of the most odd and struggle-filled development cycles of any COD game previously produced. This seems to be the trend within every third iteration of a Call of Duty sub-series, though this was much different than Modern Warfare 3. The timeline goes like this. World at War was a miracle of Treyarch's struggles, and it's surprising that it ever even came out. Black Ops 1 was never really working until it all came together near the end. Black Ops 2 was the most smooth and cohesive and represented a single vision finally coming together. Black Ops 3 is much like World at War, all over again. This was Treyarch's first crack at an extended development cycle since Sledgehammer was added to the mix, making Advanced Warfare in 2014. Treyarch received an extra year or so to work on and polish this game. You would think that's a positive, but it made Black Ops 3 an entirely different beast, and you could see that when the devs talked about the game.
Hold my breath for probably 9 months. I'm like, Jesus, what, like, it took a while. It took a while. A lot of everything we were doing in the first year and even year and a half, really, I personally spent time in this room that we're in now, working on something that's not in the game.
Virtually everything worked on during the first 18 months or so was completely scrapped. The internal rhythm of development at Treyarch was destroyed during its creation. Basically, everything we know about the game on launch was developed in about 9 months. Similar to World at War. You can feel the stress of the developers every time one of the studio heads was asked about the first year and a half of the game. You could clearly see the rush and desperation, specifically in the campaign. Treyarch's always been known as the risk taker. Compared to the other COD devs, they take risks that sometimes pay off, and they reap rewards of that for years. And sometimes you get... Point is, this was the most experimental Treyarch game yet. Each studio had one crack at the sci-fi, weird, futuristic COD, and Black Ops 3 will always be the most popular of the bunch, but this was no guarantee, and I remember how upset some of the community was that Treyarch was making an exo COD instead of going back to World War II, even though that's what the community was complaining about just 3 years prior. This game kind of proves gamers don't actually know what they want until it slaps them in the face. Imagine if Treyarch had played it safe and given us some boring boots on the ground World War II game that didn't push any boundaries or carve any new paths in the way that Black Ops 3 did. Sure, it could have been good, but no one would remember it or even care at this point. But you can tell this game had a hard time coming together as one cohesive unit, which made it clear when looking at the promo. Some of the earliest teasers show that this is supposed to be a story of how tech is evolving rapidly and changing our daily lives, and how the line between human and machine can be crossed very easily, and how that presents new problems and obstacles for people to contend with. It's a story that is eerily relevant in today's day. We had Dr. Salim's viral Snapchat campaign with the frozen forest, and the idea that humans becoming one with technology was inevitable, kind of like Thanos. When I think about that premise, it could make for a super sick story, but the actual campaign doesn't have very much of that at all. It has themes similar to this, but it never truly lives up to what the marketing was trying to portray. This shows that the game from its conception was quite disarrayed and not very well thought out. Dave Anthony, who directed Black Ops 1 and 2, did not direct this game. So if you ever wondered why the stories didn't mesh, this is likely the reason. Black Ops 3 is the Black Ops game that feels the least like Black Ops, which maybe adds to the magic of it just a little bit, but it's because all of the OG devs were gone. Even with the crunch in development, I'm super impressed with how many modes the game did ship with: campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and then special things like free run. It was a speed run course using the new movement with a global leaderboard. You had Dead Ops Arcade 2 and Nightmares, which was the zombies campaign. We can probably ignore that one, though. Now, I know what everyone wants to talk about. While zombies and multiplayer aren't too controversial, the campaign seems to be the thing people are most off-put by. After revisiting the campaign to end last year, it's clear that talking about this is going to be the most challenging and complex to break down and discuss. So grab a snack, grab a drink, grab a buddy, because this one is gonna take some time. By far the most controversial part of Black Ops 3 was the campaign. It's no surprise, though, as for the first time since World at War, Treyarch took a shot at making a co-op campaign. While you can play it alone, it was designed, at least gameplay-wise, to be best with multiple players. If you've played the Black Ops 3 campaign at all, you know, gameplay-wise, it is unlike anything else in the series. This was Treyarch and Call of Duty's first crack at a more open-ended world. It's less linear and more off the rails, much like the story. It clearly took inspiration from Destiny, which at the time was the peak form for co-op based gameplay. You can take one look at the campaign and realize it was supposed to be a shared world experience. In co-op, this is the only COD campaign where you can play any mission you want right off the bat. You can get a brand new copy of the game and immediately play the final mission with no knowledge of anything else that has happened. Much like Destiny, this open shared world was supposed to have you repeating missions, leveling up your soldier, unlocking different abilities, like Destiny roles, but all it did was make it not feel like Call of Duty at all. So they backtracked, making it a watered down version of itself and becoming more similar to a traditional COD campaign. If you pay close enough attention, you can see the roles, classes, safe houses being similar to the tower, player customization, a ranking system in campaign similar to zombies and multiplayer that shows multiple playthroughs really were expected. It's certainly one of a kind in terms of Call of Duty, and it's very experimental. I've played this campaign both solo and with friends, and the gameplay they're going for rings very hollow. I'm not sure if that's due to enemy types or lack thereof, and lack of major quote-unquote bosses. The roles are very boring and inconsequential. The open world isn't really open, but instead multiple lanes that all kind of lead to the same forced milestone markers. They're completely pointless, and the out-of-game progression is also pointless. You level up just to use the 48 dredge instead of the dingo. Huge progression, unlike Destiny, where you actually get weapons that are more epic and more useful. The entire thing is just a hollowed out version of something Destiny did miles better. It's not terrible, just super watered down. Now, it was cool to be able to add camos and paint jobs to your guns and test different builds inside the simulations in the safe house. They didn't hide what game they tried to emulate, but it's odd and lacks the depth you would want to see. Now, it's not all inherently terrible, but it is lacking despite being somewhat interesting. The gameplay just doesn't ring true to what it feels like it was trying to accomplish. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who cares? Black Ops campaigns have never been about gameplay. The story is all that matters. And while I do agree, let me tell you that this is not one of those games at all. Talking gameplay first is important because the wonkiness of how the game was built influenced how they told us the story. They needed a story that was compatible with the design that they were banking on. Now, I'm going to get hate for this, but I'm one of the few people who kind of enjoyed this campaign's story. I don't love everything about it, and it has some super major flaws, and it's very disconnected from the rest of the universe it's set in, and the flaws really do fuck it up, but I still enjoy it. But I really understand how and why someone could hate it, and why most of you do. The story is really, really messy, but it's not bad. It's not a genius, intellectual, galaxy-brained masterpiece either. If you follow along here, this will make more sense as to why I'm describing it this way. We're going to talk about this campaign as you'd experience it on a first playthrough with no knowledge of what's happening. Got it? Got it. The game starts with a cold open about a group called the NRC taking some guy hostage, and you have to go recover him. You're with your team and partner named Jacob Hendricks. You enter the base, stay hidden while sabotaging them from the inside, before eventually going loud, linking up with your team, and a man named John Taylor. He doesn't know you well, but he knows Hendricks very well. Hendricks asks about a woman named Rachel.
You're still seeing Rachel? That didn't work out.
You pick up on a pretty obvious vibe that there is tension between Hendricks and Taylor. It remains business until you need to go back and rescue people other than the VIP you were sent after. This leads to a split up and saving the VIP and a hostage named Khalil. When trying to extract, the VTOL has to leave as you get overrun by robots and get left behind in maybe the most shocking and gruesome scene in a Call of Duty campaign. You get severely injured by these NRC robots. It then cuts to Taylor saving you and telling you that you're in DNI reconstructive operations. You had sustained life-threatening injuries, but are now stable. The next mission is basically a tutorial, but done in a unique way. John Taylor is in your head walking you through using your new DNI movement abilities and telling you why this tech exists in the first place. Basically to monitor the thoughts of people and prevent catastrophic events from taking place before they even begin. It's established here that interfacing with someone else's DNI is a death sentence for the person receiving it. It's a very cerebral and dreamlike sequence. Visually, this mission is incredible. It's super off the rails and wild, making it abundantly clear that this is some kind of simulation. This mission introduces you to Sarah Hall, Peter Moretti, and Sebastian Diaz, and other members of the Winslow Accord unit. Basically, an entire unit of augmented soldiers. We continue as normal before going to investigate the Singapore disaster, an event that killed over 300,000 people, leaving the entire area as a desolate, lawless land, with a group called the 54 Immortals taking charge and forcibly taking control over that area. It's established immediately that the 54I use extremely inhumane tactics to exercise control. A detail that is super important later on in the story. You move through trying to figure out what really happened when you stumble across a CIA black site. At this black site, you find everyone has been brutally murdered. The only explanation is the 54I. It makes sense given the tactics they used, but you find out the data drives had been wiped, and the only remaining evidence suggests the murders were done by who else but John Taylor and his unit. This is extremely distressing to Hendricks because he finds it hard to believe his former friends and teammates would do such a thing. Afterwards, a lead from your LNO named Rachel Kane sends you to investigate a silent alarm triggered underneath the old Coalescence building. You assume this may be 54I activity, so you go down to the abandoned thing, finding spooky, scary skeletons in jean shorts, while Hendricks begins to grow distrustful of the CIA and Rachel Kane. You soon learn that a rogue Winslow Accord member, Diaz, is here trying to use his DNI to leak details about safe house locations, other CIA ops, etc. You end up bringing him down and you interface with his DNI, trying to obtain some answers. But it only creates more questions. You then move on and attempt to reason with the 54I. Ultimately, this goes poorly, as you get what you came for, but made a bunch of enemies in the process. And though you stopped Diaz, he was able to leak the location of Kane's current safe house, and she ended up getting captured by the 54I. This evens up the score a little bit, and is kind of the 54I getting revenge after we killed one of the leader's brothers. Now, upon going to rescue Kane, your player is adamant about rescuing her alive, but Hendricks seems less optimistic and figures it's too risky to try. You notice Hendricks is starting to act more antagonistic towards you than what is normal. And as you sneak through the city and find the building Kane is located in, it goes up in flames. Hendricks wants to abandon saving her, but you, as the player, do what is right and go rescue her, taking out a side villain with an absolutely gruesome death. Now, this is when you leave with Kane relatively unharmed, but the tension grows between you and Hendricks more and more.
You got something to say, Hendricks?
I just noticed you got a lot of blood on you.
In between each mission at the safe house, which is what operates kind of like Destiny's Tower, you get some really great dialogue between the player and Kane. This is where much of the plot gets pushed along, and they do it using only a couple of sentences, which is pretty great. You then head to Cairo to meet up with Khalil, who you had rescued a couple of missions earlier, and you go to interrogate Dr. Salim for more info on the CIA Black Project. Salim explains he was a psychiatrist for the more unstable patients who did not volunteer to be part of these illegal human DNI lab tests. Hendricks then has a minor crash out on Salim, and you're forced to then fight some NRC bad guys while Hendricks and you get into a little scuffle after, and the tension continues to grow between you two over the entire situation. Come to find out, Dr. Salim got extracted by Taylor while you were busy with the NRC, but you had put a tracker in his drink. You then notice his vitals suddenly flatline when Sarah Hall shows up in a giant mech suit to finally finish your squad off. This isn't what happens, though. As you defeat her and interface with her DNI after she's subdued, you have to then break through her subconscious to find out what's happening, and you get the sense some AI virus is what's causing Taylor and his team to act against their will and do these unspeakable acts that they would not do of their own accord. This is when you realize the CIA Black Project and the creation of this thing had led directly to the Singapore disaster. After this, you head to some aquifers where Taylor and Moretti are still holed up, and this thing called Corvus is now beginning to affect your own mind as well. You attempt to cure Moretti and Taylor of this virus, but as the events unfold and you and Hendricks have yet another confrontation, you end up killing Moretti, but Taylor escapes by making a deal with the NRC. And at this point, Taylor is the last remaining man in his unit. From here, we head to Lotus Towers, where Taylor is now, and an uprising against the NRC ensues, with Khalil leading the charge. At some point in this fight, Khalil is captured by the enemy, but you still press on to find Taylor. Eventually, you're able to track him down and corner him, only to see him obsessed with something called the Frozen Forest. This comes to a final confrontation with Taylor on the roof of Lotus Towers. He mans a VTOL, but you bring him down. Taylor approaches you to finish you off after you took a metal bar through the arm, but Taylor instead cuts out his own DNI. Hendrix ultimately eliminates Taylor, tying up all of these loose ends, but because you were grievously injured, you must now undergo DNI reconstructive surgery again. Kane objects and tells you not to forget her. Now, in the last mission, this is where things really start to go off the rails. Fighting your way through the streets, you and Kane break through to find a containment breach in this facility where Nova 6 gas could spread again, just like in Singapore, if not contained properly. And the only way to shut it down is to do it manually for some reason. And then for an even more unknown reason, Kane walks into it. And even though she said Corvus had tricked you, she dies to the Nova 6 release. Then you go down and find Hendrix and Sebastian Kruger, the last remaining scientist from the DNI experiment project. Hendrix shoots him. You shoot Hendrix, and finally finish the mission, tying up all of the loose ends by shooting yourself. Finishing off Corvus by putting yourself in the frozen forest with Corvus. You thought it would end Corvus, but it didn't. And now you're in the frozen forest with Corvus and Kruger, who explain why Corvus exists.
An understanding. I want to know who I am.
Your software. Nothing more. You weren't created. You were designed to catalog and track the thoughts of others so that we, people, could decide what action to take. You were a glitch, an anomaly, a mistake.
I am not a mistake.
Then you and Taylor break through these barriers, killing the 3 remaining hearts to supposedly kill Corvus, then allowing you to extract your own DNI when the ending cutscene begins to play and the twist is revealed.
Imagine yourself
What's your name, soldier?
in a frozen forest.
I said, what's your name?
Taylor.
At this point in the game, everyone who played this game is left scratching their head in confusion, but we needed to lay all that out, and now we understand the events. We now get to talk about it, and this is where it gets really interesting and really stupid. Now, I'm sure 80-90% of you played this and got to the ending and were confused and pretty angry by an ending that didn't make any sense. Maybe 10 to 20% of players understood the twist that we were playing as Taylor the entire time as the credits rolled. But that still doesn't answer all the questions. Like, if we were playing as Taylor, why did we spend the game hunting Taylor down? Well, the thing is, 0% of players had the full context needed to truly understand the story. No matter how big brain you are, you didn't have all of the pieces when playing the game the first time around. Treyarch deliberately withheld info just to make the twist work. It genuinely wasn't possible for you to fully understand the game the first time around, or maybe ever. Now, that doesn't actually make it a good twist, does it? Well, let me answer that as straightforward as humanly possible. Even if you were clever enough to pick up on the fact that you were playing as Taylor throughout the entire campaign, you would have literally no shot at knowing that Taylor in the game is actually a man named Dylan Stone. He is the man in the Black Ops 3 comic that plays out the role of Taylor in most instances from the game in the comic book.
We also want to leave some stuff on the table, and intentionally on this one, we decided we didn't want to tell everybody the entire story of the game. We wanted to leave something. We just wanted to give them the setup and get them into it and get them into the, into the mood of what Black Ops 3 is all about, and then let them spin on it a little bit.
He's also mentioned in the mission intro screens and the Safe House Codex. But it's even worse than that, because everyone from the Winslow Accord that we spent the entire game getting to know and track down are actually totally different people. Sarah Hall is actually Alice Conrad. Sebastian Diaz is actually a guy named Javier Ramirez. And Moretti is a guy named Fierro. I think maybe that's just comics tie-ins are stupid. So despite everyone in the game being someone else in reality, as it mentions them in mission briefs that move so fast that you can't actually read them in-game, but these mission briefs are also the only thing that contains the actual story of the events in the game. Got it? Because I don't. So let's talk about what really happened and not what we played. Now, to give Treyarch some credit where it's due, some of the setups, callbacks, and payoffs are really clever, and other things become more stupid and nonsensical as we think about it. You, as the player, only actually exist in the first mission, which is actually the last mission chronologically. The part where you get ambushed by the robots and get saved by Taylor. But according to Taylor's log, you died during surgery due to surgery complications, whatever the hell that means. This is more confusing and misleading, remembering that Taylor says that you're in stable condition, but you know that this is the final mission because Khalil was captured at Lotus Towers and you rescue him in this mission, and he already knows who Hendrix is. You can also see that Taylor has a bandana on his arm covering the wound that he received when fighting Dylan Stone atop Lotus Towers. This is why Hendrix asking about Rachel was relevant. It comes out of nowhere initially, but makes sense given that they split following his surgery, and explains why the player was so adamant about saving Kane, and why Khalil seems to know you when you show up in Cairo. This also means that basically the entire final mission isn't even real. It's just you as the player dying on the operating table. A lot of these things make sense when you consider them from this new framing. You actually die in mission 1, which is the final mission. As for the rest of the game, the new context is you yourself are Taylor, hunting down Dylan Stone, Alice Conrad, Javier Ramirez, and Fierro. And basically the story is Dylan Stone and his team stumbled upon a CIA black project they weren't supposed to see. The CIA called them back to eliminate them, and Stone's team instead killed them and went rogue after threatening to go public about that information. And suddenly, when you consider it like that, the literal story is way less interesting. Now, I know what you're thinking. That all makes sense, but what about all the stuff about the Frozen Forest and Dr. Salim and Corvus and the entire last mission? And to answer your question, this is where the story starts to not fall apart, but completely collapse into rubble. So let me be clear. I love the John Taylor setup and payoff stuff. It was pretty impeccable and the best part of this campaign's storytelling. Now let's get into the nonsensical, wacky parts of Black Ops 3. You ready? Because I'm not, but let's give this a go anyways. Pretty much the entire linchpin that moves the campaign forward, this AI thing named Corvus, aka Computer Satan, born from the collective minds of the test subjects, was just a technical glitch, a bug in the system, according to everyone's favorite bald scientist man. Computer Satan also directly caused the Singapore incident to occur. The entire character of Computer Satan is just a roll of duct tape used to hold everything together and cover the breaks in a mess of sloppy writing. Exhibit A. It's established when interfacing with Sarah Hall that the user sees into the receiver's mind, right? We see her thoughts, memories, emotions, desires, etc. But when Taylor interfaces with the player, we end up seeing Taylor's memories. But in the logic of the game, we should be seeing the player's memories from the perspective of Taylor? I think? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Also, what the fuck does Computer Satan even want? I don't know. And not even it knows. It just infects people's DNI and makes them go crazy, I guess. No motivation, no why, just crazy for the sake of crazy.
It couldn't control or contain anything. It doesn't have some master plan. It just grows, snowballing into a wrecking ball of emotion that crashes through everything it touches.
So Dylan Stone gets infected when going down in the thing, and then he gives Computer Satan accidentally to Alice Conrad when she gets too close trying to recalibrate him. Eventually, his whole unit ends up infected. Hendrix catches it from the guy down in the thing, and Taylor catches it from Alice Conrad. Real Taylor, not Dylan Stone. Real Taylor. Also, real quick, did they pay Katie Sackhoff too much or something? It's like she entirely forgot how to voice act for this game. Was that really the best line delivery you could do there?
One of those battles that show you what you're really made of, who you really are. One of those battles that show you what you're really made of, who you really are.
Wait, no, it's Corvus's fault, actually. One of the main symptoms is he makes you talk weird. Also, apparently Kane can detect Computer Satan in the DNI, even though it's just a bug. But if it was just a bug, remove the DNI. That'll fix it, right? Wait, what? It made the leap to organic. How's that even possible? In what world does that make sense? I'm all for suspending disbelief when it comes to video games and fantasy stories, but how? How is that even remotely a thought? Wouldn't that mean Kane could catch it too? So she's like way too close here. And if I'm following this correctly, even if you don't have a DNI, you can get infected, but removing the DNI fixes it, but it doesn't fix it. So why did Stone remove his DNI before he died? And why would that put him in the frozen forest? If you've interacted with Corvus at all, he just like owns your soul if he wants to, but only if he wants to. So why did Stone even bother removing the thing then? And gods, this is stupid. I need a joint or something, man. Also, the whole thing about Kane going into the chamber to stop the leak, I don't know where to start with this scene. I know it's not real in the context of the story, but it's like the writers sat down and were just like, all right, we need a shocking moment to kill off one of the main characters somehow. I don't know, let's just say Corvus tricked you into tricking her to sacrifice herself, and then just move on. Literally every action that doesn't make sense or has major issues can be explained away by just saying Corvus. But actually, every plot hole and inconsistency is explained away with this giant, idiotic blanket reason. All of the Corvus nonsense is the worst part of the game. You could remove this character entirely, if you even want to call it a character. You can remove it from the game, and with a few minor tweaks, have a really, really good story. Instead, you end up with a lame excuse and fallback safety net for a poorly written game. And that's what I mean when I say there are parts to love and parts to hate. Now, there are definitely some Reddit users out there who will try to claim this story is the best and smartest and most expertly written of them all. But no, just because you intentionally leave out crucial details just to fulfill the plot twist at the end does not make it good or smart. And no, needing pre-mission logs that can't possibly be read fast enough, or a tie-in comic just for your story to make sense, doesn't count as giving you the information. The smart, good stuff is the clever setups and payoffs, but this doesn't have a moment like in Black Ops 1, where if you're clever enough all of the little pieces given to you in the story will snap together perfectly. This campaign is more similar to going to IKEA and buying a bed frame, taking it home and attempting to put it together, but you realize that something's just off. There's a leg missing from the bed, and a couple of the center bars are missing from the frame, and it's all a bit incomplete, and you feel embarrassed and frustrated because you feel like you've paid attention to the instructions enough to understand it all, but you realize you weren't given all of the pieces you needed from the start. The pieces you need are in a goddamn comic book. That's why most people hated this campaign. The main emotion this gave you was frustration and confusion, and as I've shown, it's genuinely not your fault for not understanding it, and it's not Giga-Brain to gatekeep it when they spell it all out for you in text logs that you can't read, and you have to record the game and slow it down to be able to finally read them. Most people wanted this to be a faithful sequel to everything set up in Black Ops 1 and 2, but BO3 is largely disconnected from them other than a throwaway line about Menendez and a Kodak entry about Hudson, Mason, and Woods in Kruger's logs or whatever. Oh, and don't forget the little tiny nod to Nova 6 in the final mission that isn't the final... whatever, you know what I mean? People were upset that they didn't get more of that stuff. They would have preferred a more traditional Black Ops game. I understand and empathize with people who found this game off-putting, but at the same time, I love how weird and entertaining it is. The most interesting stuff in this game is what happens when you experience someone else's mind. It makes for super interesting set pieces and gameplay situations. It's easily the most creative COD campaign ever made. Some of the levels and locations are incredible, and there is some magic behind this one. Some of the weirdest stuff was what kept me the most entertained and was actually really enjoyable. I love how risky this game tried to be. Though a lot of it was terrible, it was so different that I was never bored. I was engaged the entire way through. It was super far out of left field and not what people were expecting. But I've got some respect for that. Maybe the gameplay wasn't all there entirely, and the story isn't as interesting when given the full context, but it's such an odd and captivating experience the first time around, at least. Like, I can't say it's objectively good, but it's for sure better than some campaigns, that's for sure. Also, Black Ops 3 had Nightmares, which is the campaign, but with a different narrative overlaid on top, and zombie enemies. That story has even more nonsense to unpack than the main campaign, so we aren't even gonna let that one out of the box. But zooming out here, you can tell this was Treyarch being intentionally experimental. They went for the zombies approach to the story, where you have to go digging for it. On paper, that's fine, but it didn't really work too well here, and that's okay. I can respect it for being unique, but that's as far as it goes. I know it's controversial, but it is still pretty fun. Now it's time to be even more controversial, but I'm just going to come right out and say Black Ops 3 has one of the best designed multiplayer experiences ever. The system makes sense. The game is well balanced and has by far the biggest skill gap for any COD multiplayer ever. The customization depth and community features are also a wonderful extension to what made Black Ops 2 so beloved as well. Interestingly, the first year and a half of development that was scrapped, the only thing that made it out alive was the game's movement system. It took a year and a half of failed work to finally craft what would be the fundamental change going into Black Ops 3. The core of this game was truly forged in fire. I certainly think it was for the better for the overall project's sake. So let's talk about what had made this multiplayer work. Now, I love going back and replaying this, even now, 10 years later, when you can still find a lobby without hackers. It's still genuinely incredible. The movement mechanics are by far the best, most innovative, and sophisticated of the three futuristic CODs, Advanced Warfare introduced the entire idea, but the movement was unrefined, clunky, and just overall felt lacking in some way. It was super fun, yeah, but it wasn't perfect. The edges were rough, and there were bare patches. Treyarch made Black Ops 3 movement system to be more closely related to something like Titanfall, in which the jetpack was now a resource. This, along with the addition of wall running, sliding, etc., was also much more finely controllable compared to AW, where it's static motion in one direction or the other. Infinite Warfare basically has the same movement system as Black Ops 3, like to a T. So I give Black Ops 3 the credit for doing it the best, since the next game just entirely copied it. The very core of why Black Ops 3 multiplayer is so good is all because of how well refined that movement system is. The more overlooked part of Black Ops 3, though, is the map design, seamlessly integrating what made old multiplayer maps good while adding the elements for wall running and making the most out of this new movement system. Think about how challenging it had to be for Treyarch to keep the same gameplay pacing and combat loops of previous Call of Duty games, while now allowing the player to more freely move in 3 dimensions compared to what was previously basically only 2. On top of all of that, the movement in this game is accelerated. You couldn't just make the maps bigger or copy and paste old, smaller maps. It would just make it too chaotic. You had to make completely new designs that felt like the old ones. The balance of increasing the map size just enough that you're able to feel like this is one of the old games while also feeling like you're able to move around the map far quicker is incredible. And hats off to the team at Treyarch for somehow managing to pull that off. Most of the on-disc maps for this game seem to be often forgotten because they only really work in a game with this advanced movement. None of the maps have ever been remastered or appeared in other games. But these maps, from a technical and design perspective, are some of, if not the best multiplayer maps Treyarch has ever made. With the movement options and the more free-flowing nature these maps had, you had so many ways to turn gunfights, get in and out of engagements, and make decisions. This is one of the best examples of a COD multiplayer where you have to actually use your brain. You can't just sprint and shoot because there's so much going on and so many new avenues of attack. Black Ops 3 is also, of course, the first time Treyarch took a crack at the hero specialist style of gameplay, and it's by far my favorite iteration of this system. All of the specialists are very visually unique. With a single glance at an enemy, you can tell exactly what they're running and what their options with that character are, as opposed to, say, Infinite Warfare, where it's almost impossible to distinguish between any of them. While that may just seem like a minor detail in-game, it really changes how you make decisions in some moments. The specialists themselves are the most fun to use in this game as well. Each specialist has an elite lethal weapon or some kind of support ability that was not only fun to use, but incredibly useful in the pace of whatever game mode you were playing. The specialists added a massive amount of replayability and variety to the game in a way that had never been seen in a Call of Duty before. But the more important part is they didn't actually affect COD's fundamental core gun-on-gun gameplay. They never felt out of place. They could have very easily gone too far overboard with these, put a ton of emphasis on character importance, kind of like they did in Black Ops 4. But this isn't Overwatch, where you need a set amount of a type of character. If everyone on your team played as Spectre, for example, it wouldn't hurt the flow of the game at all. It's still Call of Duty at the end of the day, and Treyarch was able to masterfully toe the line with this system. Not to mention the incredible lore and backstory that was an extension of the shared universe idea of the campaign that was mentioned earlier. Black Ops 3 had a fascinating approach to its create-a-class system as well. It was reminiscent of Black Ops 2, but lacking some of the balance. For example, Afterburner, a perk 1 option, is by far the best perk in the game, practically speaking. But besides that perk and maybe a few other really good ones, as a whole, the perks don't really feel that useful. Literally all of the perk 3s were useless. I almost always ran 1 or 2 perks and opted for more attachments on my guns, and that seemed to be the consensus among most players. Attachments meant a lot to this game's meta, and something as simple as having long barrel on could be the difference maker in 60% of your fights. This game was extremely high on player-to-player engagements, which meant grenades, claymores, any type of equipment like that took more of a backseat than we had ever previously seen. They still had a place, but it wasn't near what they usually had. In fact, there were no corny or even annoying equipment tactics that you would die to consistently or unfairly, except for, of course, the trip mine. When placed on the ground, it's perfectly normal and reactable like a bouncing Betty. But for some unknown reason, you can put these fucking things on the wall or the ceiling, changing its explosion angle, making it truly unreactable, kind of defeating the entire point of making them reactable at all. That, and then people placing a shock charge directly next to it, guaranteeing that you just die with no reaction possible. That was the only tactic in the game that really felt unearned or that I could consider cheesy. Otherwise, you actually have to earn the kills that you're able to get in this game. And the more intelligent you are in your movement and play, the better you'll perform no matter what weapons you're using, and without feeling bottlenecked by forces outside of your control. Or, as some could say, this game really was a skill issue. The core gameplay loop of this game cannot receive enough praise. From top to bottom, specialists, movements, grenades, weapons, maps, time to kill, it's all nearly perfect. Hell, even score streaks here were top-notch. Now, the streaks were on the more powerful end, meaning they were incredibly rewarding to earn and use, but it also sucked to deal with enemies who had earned certain ones like the Raps, the Mothership that was absurdly OP, and everyone's favorite, the Wraith. While these streaks were incredibly beefy, they also took real effort and skill to earn. Needing 24 kills for a Mothership felt right, or 11 for Raps. Everything felt truly tough to earn, but was absolutely worth it if you did. Unless you lucked out and got them in a supply drop, but supply drops are always goofy. Most of the entire weapons roster lives in a healthy balance with each other, outside of certain shotguns. Brecci. But it also seems impossible for a COD game to do shotguns well. They're always either super OP or so underpowered you can't even dare use them. Also, some of the black market exclusives weren't great, and boy will we get into that in a bit, but I digress. This might not be the most iconic roster of guns ever, but they are memorable and enjoyable in their own way, much like many other parts of this game. A lot of the potential weapons remain out of reach, and this is where my biggest complaints for this game's multiplayer comes from. As someone with literally thousands of hours put into this game, I've still had no shot at getting all of the weapons this game had to offer, and that's because of the inclusion of supply drops. This microtransaction system was by far the worst in any Call of Duty game ever. It's left a massive stain on this game's legacy that truly can't be ignored. The system was very similar to packs in Madden or FIFA, but it lacked one thing, which was an auction house where you could buy the cosmetics, or in this case, entire brand new guns as well. While I also hate the pack system used in other games, at least there's another way to get your hands on whatever the thing was that you wanted, even if it's super scummy. But for this game, you could spend $1 million on COD points to buy supply drops and never receive a single weapon, let alone all of them. And by the time the game's life cycle was up, there were basically as many supply drop weapons as there were original roster weapons, meaning most players never got to use a solid half or quarter of the guns in the game. And while you could earn crypto keys in-game, this was the currency used to buy supply drops, you needed to play multiple matches to earn enough keys for one crate, which only gave you 3 items, and they could be duplicates of items you've already received, giving you nothing. oh, but you can exchange your dupes for more crypto keys, except it would give you like 1 key and you needed 30. The balance wasn't there. It was a trick to get you to spend more money. I digress. While most of these weapons weren't blatantly meta or anything other than this one, it sucked having them arbitrarily walled off without spending absurd money or getting absurdly lucky. While the core gameplay loop is something I've cited as one of this game's biggest strengths, and it absolutely is, this game was also super special for something else: community features and transparency. This is the biggest reason I feel there won't ever be another COD game quite like this one. Black Ops 3 has unquestionably the most straightforward and well-optimized leaderboards and UI, not just in a Call of Duty game, but I'd argue any major shooter ever. For example, you can just click on a player in your lobby, you can just click their name and view their entire career history and stats. Wins, KD, win-loss ratio, level, the gun they're best with, the specialist they're best with, the mode they're the best in, all of it. Right there at your fingertips, you can see the entire lobby-specific leaderboard while waiting for the match to start. With all of this stuff about skill-based matchmaking and engagement-optimized matchmaking these days, making all of this info a lot more opaque, it's unlikely we'll ever see this level of transparency again. It's super depressing, really. Not only is this game giving you a ton of useful info in a really digestible manner, we also got to see things like theater mode. We got a far more expanded customization suite, from emblems to calling cards and paint jobs on weapons. With emblems, we got 64 layers instead of 32 that was previously allowed in Black Ops 2. This allowing for some incredible and some truly awful emblem designs. The weapon skins in this game were also by far the best in any Call of Duty ever. The reactive camos were insanely cool looking and didn't feel out of place with what the game looked and felt like. This level of customization allowed the COD community to really show some of the wonderful art skills they had. You could really change the look and feel of a weapon or skin just by adding a custom paint job. It's little stuff like this that is missing dearly from the more recent iterations of COD. And stuff like this we know will probably never be coming back. Flavor and personality are not things they want us to have for free. They can sell us the flavor and customization and give us nothing for free, and it seems like we'll just take that. This game also deserves a ton of credit because the DLC maps are so extravagant and wild and creative, while continuing to hold on to the flow of the game. You just can't help but love them. Now, there are a few of them that are pretty questionable design-wise, but you can't question their uniqueness, and when considering the tone of the base maps, these still come across as realistic and fitting of the aesthetics and vibe of the base game. These maps are so insane. From a giant picnic table setting with like massive bugs to Skyjacked, which was a remake of Hijacked, the yacht map from Black Ops 2, but instead of being a boat, you're on a giant flying yacht, to Gauntlet, where you combined 3 entirely different climates and terrains into one map, or Citadel, which has some giant serpent-like castle, or Rupture with the giant pilotable mechs. The entire lineup of DLC maps is insane, and that's not even half of them. The entire goal with the maps in this game seemed to be to maximize the fun and beauty of the game, even if that meant being a little risky in terms of the actual design and playstyle of the map. There is an infinite amount of charm radiating off the entire multiplayer experience that you will have no problem going back and enjoying. The only flaw that ever really was in Black Ops 3's multiplayer was in the black market and how it functioned. Gameplay-wise, it's one of the best in the history of Call of Duty. The issue is the black market stain is a bit too large to truly ignore. Well, sure, you could always nerf some equipment, maybe bump player health just a bit, and maybe there are a few cringe things that didn't age super well. I would still argue to this day, this is Treyarch's objectively best multiplayer experience from top to bottom. I'd also be willing to say it's my favorite, not only from Treyarch, but Call of Duty in general. This was by far the most palatable of the 3 jetpack CODs for players who didn't really like the future gimmick. And it's fair to say there won't be another COD game that offers this degree of community features as well. And while Black Ops 3's multiplayer isn't considered one of the classics by the greater COD community, it's one of the most intelligently designed and fun to play, and maybe it's worth giving the title of classic too. Finally, we've arrived at the part of the video I've been most looking forward to, my favorite and maybe the very best part of Black Ops 3, zombies. The more I think about it, the more I realize it's going to be impossible for me to capture every aspect and detail of what makes this mode so special, and even capture every detail I'd want to put in this video. In regards to not just the game itself, but the legacy to the community, and even more broadly, to content creation and gaming as a whole. The true total impact Black Ops 3 Zombies had is incalculable, but I'm gonna give it a go here. Black Ops 3 Zombies is by far the mode and maybe the game with the strongest sense of community. It was the true culmination of the well-earned momentum that had been building from World at War to Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. I have more than my fair share of game time in Black Ops 3 Zombies, so if there's ever a mode I feel I'm uniquely qualified to talk about, it's definitely this one, not only through the sheer amount of gameplay, but also as part of the community as a whole during its prime, watching streams, making videos, combing through forums. This mode is why I'm here making this video today at all. Before we talk about the maps and gameplay, I want to talk about the legacy Black Ops 3 Zombies left on the zombies community. While it's not possible to cover everything the game brought to people or their lives, here are just a few memorable highlights. As a community, we raised over $300,000 for St. Jude's Children's Hospital during an event called Easter Eggs for Charity. In 2016, the Z House was responsible for some of the best zombies content that even transcended zombies itself. And hell, even one of my favorite music artists came out of that house. Shout out Lonely Mailbox, or Kennedy. In 2017, a creator I've loved for a long time got to reveal an unprecedented 5th DLC that was entirely zombies focused, a true first of its kind. That DLC would go on to be the best-selling COD DLC ever. In 2018, the Zombies World Championship was created, allowing people to showcase their zombies skills in a way no other competition had before. In 2020, during the pandemic, when the world was at its most isolated, so many people were able to find a home in the zombies community online. Still, because of this game. Just for me, this mode is why I make content. It's why I'm able to call almost all of my friends friends. It's why I've gotten to experience incredible things. I could go on for literal hours about the impact this mode had on not just my life, but millions of other people's lives as well. It's a factor that is truly unquantifiable, but it is the legacy this game holds. Any of you that were even vaguely aware of the zombies community in that era could feel the electric energy radiating from it. It's the zombies that had the broadest reach into gaming culture by a landslide. I bring that all up to say I'm completely aware of and acknowledge my bias when it comes to talking about this mode. And while it's by no means perfect, and I will discuss the imperfections it had the same I would for anything else, the love I have for this game is not something I can truly articulate into words well enough. Now, the development for Black Ops 3 Zombies, much like the other two modes, was in a pretty interesting position. Activision let them get away with far riskier things than they would normally let them get away with, because whatever Treyarch had been doing was working. Activision was quite hands-off creatively for this experience, which cannot be said for most zombies games, or maybe even any other zombies mode. With the relatively short amount of time everything came together in, it's really quite impressive that they were able to launch with 2 maps. The Giant, which was a Doris remake, and Shadows of Evil, which is arguably the greatest zombies map ever made. Point blank, period. Even things like the Liquid Divinium and Gobblegums were, believe it or not, thrown together at basically the last second. If you look at Black Ops 3 Zombies and how it is today, you'd have absolutely no clue that it experienced any real trouble in development, let alone the amount of trouble that it truly did. But that just shows the true ingenuity, finesse, and true love the developers had for this mode and this experience. With all of this fresh in our mind, let's talk about some of the systems Black Ops 3 came with. Black Ops 3 was the first Treyarch Zombies title to have any out-of-game progression systems at all. For example, weapon kits were added, and this seems very basic, but this game is the first time the player had been able to customize guns that they used in a zombies match with any sort of attachments and camos. Much like multiplayer, you could really make every gun both more useful but also more unique. Also, for the first time, Zombies was given a traditional XP-based ranking system with transparent player stats similar to multiplayer, as opposed to the more skill-based rank of Black Ops 2. This leaderboard system allowed you to see total kills, rounds survived, average rounds per game, as well as what map, gobblegum, and weapon you were best with or at. Of course, gobblegums were the true star of the show. Gums allowed you to interact with maps in tons of new and interesting ways that we'd never really dreamt of before. The coloring and patterning of gobblegums signify their function and meaning. Blues are based on the passage of rounds, greens are based in real time, orange gums apply a condition to the player, and finally purple are manually activated. Knowing this and the way gobblegums cycle created a new minigame within the metagame. The way you would manipulate the gumball machine for various purposes added another layer of depth to the game's decision-making process. It's such a unique and smart system that I'm not even sure Treyarch was aware of just how genius what they had created was at the time. Gums, weapon kits, Newton's cookbook, and the like were all integral parts of the out-of-game progression. Now, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of out-of-game progression systems in any other Zombies game. Infinite Warfare felt largely the same as Black Ops 3, but Black Ops 4 and Cold War were absolute disasters. Weapon kits aren't too game-altering in Black Ops 3. The gums, though, are the biggest X factor. While they are kind of broken, they do add another layer of depth in an already great system. It genuinely is as simple as not using them if you don't like them. Now, I know what you might be asking. Why is Black Ops 3 Zombies so good? If the game truly had this much impact, it must be great, right? Well, I'll let you decide if you want to come to that conclusion or not at the end of the video, but now it's time for the main course of Black Ops 3 Zombies. The thing that makes it the most special as a game. The maps. Shadows of Evil might be a bit of an odd pick for best zombies map of all time, but I'm gonna need y'all to hear me out on this one. I know when thinking of zombies as a brand, Shadows might not even come to mind in the grand scheme of things. Instead, you're probably thinking of Nocturne on Toten, Nuketown, or Kino der Toten. Maybe even Origins or Mob of the Dead. But Shadows is an anomaly of a map to represent the best of the best. It's a strange tone set in the town of Morgue City with bizarre Lovecraftian monsters in the Margwa and bugs and these weird rolling explodey things that are kind of like the Raps. It doesn't even feature the beloved Ultimus or Primus crew, that being Richtofen, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takiao. Somehow with all of that, it manages to be legendary all on its own. What makes Shadows, if nothing else, a strong contender for greatest map of all time, it's how it blends the best of the two styles of maps from Black Ops 2 into one map that is legendary. Now, what do I mean by that? Black Ops 2 Zombies featured two directors, Jimmy Zielinski, whose maps were pure chaos with little structure, this allowing for the experience to be vastly different and novel every time you loaded into a match. While Jason Blundell, on the other hand, was very focused and quest-oriented. The true beauty of Shadows is how it mixed these styles perfectly. Shadows is quite structured in terms of what you need to accomplish to get set up and started. You need to do all 4 rituals to open Pack-a-Punch, but you can do them in whatever order you want, and it doesn't have to be in a set structure. You can progress in the map further by obtaining the sword or the shield, but you aren't punished if you choose not to do that. The Beast Mode mechanic allows you to interact with the map in new and unbelievably creative ways. It's this chaos in a box, this structure without structure that makes Shadows so wonderful. The philosophy is baked into the map's DNA. It's so structured that it becomes unstructured and free-flowing. The attention to detail on the way you get around the map and the way the story is told through the world is perfect. This is one of the biggest maps ever made, yet it retains a genius map flow that not many other maps can compete with. For as big as it is, it never feels like anything is too far away or too annoying to get to. The main Easter egg for this map is also one of the best we've ever had, especially up to the point at which it released. It's mostly logical with really fun and challenging gameplay steps needed to complete it. All of it rewards you with upgraded player progression, like an upgraded sword, the Apothecon Servant, which may be the most overpowered and fun to use wonder weapon in Zombies history. I mean, this thing literally creates black holes. Do you hear how goddamn cool that sounds? It's so perfectly built in how it rewards you for digging deeper in, but it doesn't punish you at all if you just want to live on the surface. It's the best blend of casual experience, just kicking back and shooting some zombies, or more hardcore experiences like high rounds, starting room challenges, or even the Easter egg. It's maybe the most moldable and scalable experience ever put into a zombies mode. It's also nearly infinitely replayable, the layers to this making every playthrough new and exciting. This map truly is Treyarch's magnum opus. Every lesson Treyarch had learned up to this point all paid off with the creation of this map.
In terms of the depth, complexity, replayability, then Shadows of Evil for Black Ops 3 is the deepest, most intricate realization of the zombies experience today.
Now, let's give a quick shout out to The Giant, the second map on disc for Black Ops 3. While this was just a Derice remaster, it's still a wonderful casual map to play with friends. On release, many people saw Shadows of Evil as having too high of a barrier to entry, so The Giant served a massive purpose to this game. It was the map for more casual players, the map that could get people into the zombies mode as a whole. You don't really need to do anything. Turn on the power, unlock Pack-a-Punch, and now you're just shooting zombies till the cows come home. It was built and served as the perfect counterbalance to match the more in-depth experience that was Shadows of Evil. These would be the only maps on the game for well over 4 months, meaning the balance of them and the truly differing experiences were very important to the health and longevity of the mode. DLC 1 Der Eisendrache might be the closest thing we have to a perfect zombies map. Now, there is no such thing as a perfect map, but DE might be close. Another strange setting for a map, it takes less risks that make it stand out, but it has basically no major flaws in the whole experience. Der Eisendrache solidifies the Black Ops 3 formula when it comes to the maps from a gameplay perspective. This formula was BO3's biggest strength, but also its biggest weakness. Basically, every map was loading in, doing the main Easter egg with their various steps, handle a massive boss fight, and then at the end, watch one of our Ultimates characters lose their souls in a cutscene, getting a Perkaholic as a reward, and then back to the lobby. Every map was the same formula, and I'm not saying it was bad. It worked, and we all loved it, but it did become rather predictable for the life cycle of this game. But formula aside, the map itself is nearly flawless. Structurally, you have the traditional setup with having to do a minor quest to unlock Pack-a-Punch. In this game, you have to feed various dragon heads around the map, but you get rewarded with bows at the end of it as well. Then we get the classic 4 wonder weapon formula. We get 4 wonder weapons, all based off of an element. We all know and love this from Origins. The main Easter egg also offers a wonderful balance of gameplay challenge and logic puzzles. We've got soul boxes, Simon Says, Find the Wisp puzzles, etc. It's meticulous in a good way. It's nearly impossible to believe how well thought out and balanced everything in this map is. And I mean that at every level. Even the boss fight is incredibly fun, but it is the cookie cutter boss format. 3 phases, shoot the guy, deal damage, that's it. Nothing more to it. It's challenging but fair, with learnable moves and predictable behaviors, but it tests your skill and endurance the entire way through. All that to say, DE can feel a little standard and vanilla, but that isn't a bad thing. This map should be the blueprint for an objectively near-perfect zombies map. If you want to design a map people will love, copy the elements that make DE so good. The only real criticism for this map is that the mystery box is kind of pointless. It's so apparent that you should just go for the bows and buy a wall weapon or two that the mystery box just serves no real purpose. It's also a little stupid that the rocket tests just go on their own with no timer or activation. They just randomly happen, making map flow a tiny bit clunky. But these being the biggest gripes mean you're really digging for something to complain about. DE is considered to be the greatest map of all time, according to the broader community, and with everything the map has to offer, I can't really fault them for thinking that. Now, we were really spoiled with two of the best maps ever made to open up the Black Ops 3 season. DLC 2 would not continue that trend at all. Zetsubo no Shima is the black sheep of the Black Ops 3 Zombies map lineup. Now, trust me, I know what you're saying. This map really isn't all that bad in hindsight, and you're right. You do have to put it into perspective, though. DE and Shadows are two of maybe the 5 best maps ever made, so Zetsubo even being middle of the pack feels like a massive drop-off. Treyarch knows Zetsubo is not their most refined or optimized map. They've openly admitted to that, but it was the truly experimental one. After achieving near perfection with DE, Zetsubo no Shima takes place on a jungle island with scenery that you would expect from that. Trees, mud, colorful plants. And you may ask yourself, what makes Zetsubo not as good as the others? Most people will point to glitches and bugs and the overall poor technical state at which the map dropped, but most of that was patched and doesn't really matter. The map design is where the largest problem is. The bulk of the main Easter egg relies on randomized challenges that change every time you play the game. These vary tremendously in terms of challenge and difficulty, meaning your experience on the map can be very easy or extraordinarily tedious or difficult. Unlike Shadows, this isn't based off preference or a choice you make, but rather RNG or a random dice roll. This makes Zetsubo the least replayable, just purely being impossible to know what kind of experience you're going to have. The layout of this map is also not great. There are areas that are entirely disconnected from one another, and as some of you may remember, the cost of doors had to be nerfed down after the map launched because it was too oppressive and slow to open up the map. This is what I mean with the major flaws, and this being experimental. They tried some new stuff, and man, did some of it not work well at all. Like, the main Easter egg requiring a particular gobblegum to be equipped, this generally breaks one of Treyarch's main rules. But for this map, they just said, fuck it, why not? The main boss fight is also just a major letdown. You fight a mutated Takiao, but he's not much of a threat or presence himself. The only real threat are the spiders and thrashers. They're the real enemy here. Thrashers are also one of, if not the worst mini-boss in all of zombies. It can move underground, is able to one-shot you, and has no reactable moves. On top of all that, they don't drop a reward for killing them like most mini-bosses do. The genuine best way to describe this map is clunky. It's not as crafted, as refined as the previous maps felt, but many of the ideas introduced here were refined and fleshed out in future maps. Zetsubo no Shima walked so that Gorod Krovi could run, and while Zetsubo is by far the weakest and most flawed map in this game, it still has some incredible stuff. The mid-Easter egg spider boss is amazing. It has a wonderful, unique wonder weapon. Maybe the coolest specialist weapon in any zombies map ever, with the Skull of Nansapwe. So don't get it twisted. I don't think Zetsubo is a bad map in the context of all zombies games. It's still pretty high tier. But in the game it released in, with the maps it was surrounded by, it had no real shot at being beloved because it was clearly the weakest link in a masterful release window of maps. Now, Gorod Krovi takes an incredible shift in tone and direction from Zetsubo. We're now in Stalingrad in an alternate timeline. In this timeline, the Russians have the giant robots, and there are dragons flying around, and Nikolai somehow obtained Sarah Hall's mech suit from 200 years in the future. Gorod Krovi takes a more complicated approach to Doris's layout. You still have your central area with branching pathways, but this time there's far more verticality and layering to the branches. Despite the more complicated nature of the map, it's not really hard to get around or explore. Gorod succeeds by taking the lessons learned in Zetsubo and perfecting them. The way the early game is set up and designed, from doing the Graph modules, the Dragon Egg process, etc., Zetsubo was a much-needed precursor to make this map work. This map most expertly utilizes the systems of Black Ops 3, the movement, the gums, the guns. All of those things fit Gorod like a glove, meaning Gorod really only works as well as it does with Black Ops 3's systems specifically. It wouldn't have worked at all in an earlier game, and I don't think a remaster in a modern title would be able to do it justice. No other game can perfectly match the tight, chaotic experience that Gorod has mastered. The main Easter egg is one of my favorites in all of Zombies history. It's 7 different gameplay challenges that test different players' skills. Some test patience and spacing, some test your aim, others test your memory, and others test reaction time. I cannot stress enough how good this Easter egg is, while being one of the most challenging in not only Black Ops 3, but in COD as a whole, statistically speaking. It has the lowest completion rate in Black Ops 3. That's not just because the Easter egg is challenging. The boss fight is also incredible and very difficult. This boss fight has you fighting both Mech Nikolai and the giant fire-breathing dragon in a massive arena. While this boss fight can be cheesed with the Ray Gun Mark IIIs, when played as intended with normal guns, it's actually super difficult, and a misstep or two can end your run really quickly. Gorod is extremely unforgiving, but also maybe the most satisfying to play and complete because of that fact. Even if you don't want to do the main Easter egg, there's an incredible amount of side quest stuff, and just pure survival is even an absolute pleasure on this map. You've got so many ways you can approach and enjoy this experience, but while being excellent overall, there are some major issues to discuss here, like the Easter egg not always being playable due to bugs. The special enemies in this map are super rough. The Valkyries are not only off-putting tonally, but the mechanics are awkward and clunky. Some of the Easter egg steps are exploitable and easy to break, but other than a short list of blemishes, Gorod continues the Black Ops 3 formula masterfully, which is to say you knew the path somewhat, but it was well executed. To sum it up, Gorod Krovi takes the weird and chaotic ideas from Zetsubo and gives it the structure and polish of Shadows of Evil. And now it's finally time to talk about my personal favorite map in this game. Now I know people are going to hate me for that, but that's fine. Let's talk about Revelations, also known as DLC 4. Now, this map is a bit of a strange one. It takes place somewhere out in the middle of the cosmos and is comprised mostly of chunks of old classic maps, from Noct to Verrucht to Mob, Origins, Kino, Derizendrock for some reason, Buried, Shangri-La. Usually DLC 4 is the blueprint for the next game. Moon from Black Ops 1, for example, is more similar in structure and style to Black Ops 2 than it was to any of the maps in its own game. It was toying with the main ideas that would be used in the next game. Origins also feels more similar to Black Ops 3 than to the rest of its Black Ops 2 counterparts. It straight up follows the Black Ops 3 formula. Revelations is, for all intents and purposes, a Black Ops 4 map in its DNA. It plays around with having a truly ambiguous and arbitrary main Easter egg. As a player, you have a ton of options for power weapons instead of just one or maybe two like most maps have. You've got the Apothecant Servant, the Thunder Gun, Little Arnie's, alternate ammo types, Ragnarok DG4s, the God Mask, the Zombie Shield, Trip Mines, and believe it or not, plenty more. You get my point. At its very core, Revelations was setting up many of the concepts that would become fully fleshed out in Black Ops 4. So how does this map hold up as an individual? Not terrible, but not really amazing either. Well, it's far less clunky than Zetsubo. Rev still suffers from not being on that same truly S-tier level as Shadows, DE, and Gorod. The first big flaw is there's almost no quote-unquote new map to speak of. The starting room and Pack-a-Punch room are basically the only new additions. The main Easter egg is horribly stupid in hindsight. Revelations took by far the longest to solve. It was well over 2 full weeks. Why? Because step 1 is shooting some gravestones in a very particular order, and then finding a random stone hidden in a teleporter that barely sticks out or looks any different than the rest of the area around the teleporter. It makes no sense, can barely be seen, and has no logic behind it at all. And that's basically the same for every single step in the Easter egg for this map. This map is what started to kill the Black Ops 3 formula. The steps for the Easter egg went overboard and became tedious with no logic behind them. The goal of this was purely to stretch out the time it took to solve it because of how much attention these Easter egg hunts grew. Many streamers had over 100,000 concurrent viewers during this hunt. These quests are the biggest reason people didn't love the map on release, and they really don't hold up over time. There are basically no gameplay challenges. The quests just feel like a long list of chores you have to do before you're allowed to do something fun. Nobody wants to do that. It's incredibly boring and gets super repetitive. These lame-ass fetch quests are tasks that are broken up by some amazing mid-game boss fights. The boss fight has this huge evolving arena that is probably the highlight of the main Easter egg. You have to fight 4 sequences of Margwas with different elemental properties and conditions to move on. It's super well designed and a genuine blast before sending you back to your to-do list of chores. It's become glaringly obvious that this kind of quest is only in service of the initial hunt and genuinely ruins the replayability of the map later on. The final boss fight is fine. It's fundamentally just the Shadows of Evil boss fight, just with the new conditions of the arena. But evidence suggests this was an intentional plan. Maybe you weren't supposed to feel like you defeated the Shadow Man for good, but at the end of the day, who the hell knows? Revelations is a pretty fun map. The Easter egg is seriously flawed, but like Zetsubo, it was super experimental for a purpose, while being far less clunky. When not doing the Easter egg, but just playing survival, this map is much better than Zet's. It's also arguably the prettiest map of the game, and by far the most unique layout and design. While it was a weird one to end the DLC season on, it can be summed up as the test subject for what would become the Black Ops 4 formula. While this would be the end of new content for this Zombies season, it wasn't the end of Zombies content as a whole, because we received an unexpected and unprecedented masterpiece with DLC 5, better known as Zombies Chronicles. Chronicles was the spark that ignited a second wind in Black Ops 3. For well over a year, it was only a rumor, but that fateful day, JC Backfire and the legend that is Jason Blundell shocked the entire community with a DLC that would remaster all the World at War maps: Kino der Toten, Ascension, Shangri-La, Moon, and Origins. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about these maps, since when I eventually go back and revisit their original games, that's when they'll get fully broken down. But each of these was updated visually and to fit Black Ops 3 systems, and some really do see a huge improvement over their original versions. They overall just added a ton of new content to a long list of experiences Black Ops 3 already offered. Treyarch wanted to offer even more maps in this pack, but had to settle on the most important ones for what it was trying to achieve. To this day, Chronicles is the best-selling DLC COD has ever pushed out. It was a real love letter to the community, and while Black Ops 3 would have been legendary on its own, this was icing on a truly wonderful cake. You may not love everything about Black Ops 3 Zombies, but this Zombies experience has undoubtedly the most to offer in terms of sheer content and types of experiences. It's inarguable. It's overflowing with well-crafted content that translates to the systems introduced. To sum up Chronicles, it was Treyarch going so far above and beyond what has ever, and really could ever have been expected, but it solidified Black Ops 3 as the most rich and deep Zombies title ever. It showed the entire mode was a true love letter to the fans and even to the developers. There's so much more I could say about Zombies, the impact on the community, the effect alternate ammo types have, the movement mechanics. I could talk for another 10 years about the Zombies maps, but I won't bore y'all with all that. Black Ops 3 solidified what Zombies would become moving forward, a true pillar in a good COD game. like multiplayer or even campaign. The formula that Black Ops 3 developed for its maps and Easter eggs would be its greatest asset, but it would also be the cause of its eventual downfall. Black Ops 3 was the best and the worst thing that ever happened to zombies. It created a standard so high that no other game could ever hope to reach. There was nowhere else to go but down after this experience. With all that in mind, I'm just so happy I was able to be part of this experience while it was happening, and I'm so glad it exists for me to be able to revisit. Unfortunately, I can't truly recommend playing the game right now. On PC, it's a literal security risk. Holy shit, I forgot to talk about the mod tools and how people are able to make their own maps and experiences. This is what we mean with community features. This game can truly live forever because Treyarch gave us the tools to keep working on it as a community. It's another show of community that we're never going to see in COD again. Black Ops 3 truly is on a different level. This was such a fun time to reminisce on, and I hope I was able to do this game the justice it deserved. If you somehow made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. This video is incredibly long, and if we're honest, we really only skimmed the surface. We never truly talked about mod tools, Dead Ops Arcade, free run. So many incredible features and experiences. This game was so loaded with content in a way that we hadn't seen before and haven't seen since from a Call of Duty game. The risky campaign, the highly experimental multiplayer, the true peak of the zombies mode, and everything it introduced. This was a different era, and that's why Call of Duty Black Ops 3 truly is a 1 in a million video game. Everyone who was a part of it has this unique experience and memories that will last for the rest of our lives. All right, I'm tired, but let's do another rebuild. Today we're rebuilding the commanders. This should be something. It should be pretty all right. Load in the 2024 draft class. We should probably do a better job of drafting this time, but if there's a trade there like there was for the Bears rebuild on Tuesday, might just take it. I'm not gonna lie. But I would also like to just, I don't know, like win really fast and not have to worry about it. That'd be pretty dope. Can I do that with this team? I don't know. Let's find out though. Right? We're gonna find out though. There's Caleb Williams. He's pretty good at football. The way the internet thinks he's awful is insane to me. The internet is the dumbest place, full of the dumbest people. For some reason, we already have to cut 3 players, even though we're in the off season. So, Tucker Addington, deuces. Jared Jones-Smith, deuces. David Bada, deuces. For retirements, did we have any important retirements? Kareem Jackson, so less concussions going to be going around the NFL for sure. Jimmy Graham, he was pretty good at the football thing. Matthew Slater, Hall of Fame special teamer. Adam Thielen, he's out. J.J. Jansen looks weirdly like Brian Hartline in that photo, and I don't know why. Tyson Alualu, Randall Cobb, Dwayne Brown, Tyrod, no! Julio retires, that's a Hall of Famer. Anybody else? Matt Prater? I wonder what it takes for a kicker to get in the Hall of Fame. I should look up how that actually works. Russell Wilson retires. That's just not realistic at all. All right, let's move on to the next week where we can re-sign some people and see what we're going to do. I think I want to bring Cam Curl back. I know he's a free agent. I don't know who else is out there, though. But we'll figure it out, hopefully, pretty fast. This is taking forever. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. Kendall Fuller, maybe. Cam Curl, very important for me and what I dream of Genie doing here. $9 million a year, that'll work. Cam Curl, welcome to staying on the roster. Jamin Davis will accept the option on and try to get him to want to be around. Kendall Fuller, I'm willing to go like 2-year deal. Sick. He's down to be here. He's still good. He's about to start regressing though, so he's gone. Antonio Gibson, you're just not good enough for what I want here. Cody Barton, you're gone. Curtis Samuel, you don't fit what I'm trying to do, my boy. Sadiq Charles, I did backups. Do any of the backups really matter to me is the big question here, and I think the only one that does is I'll find a better fullback so Miller doesn't yell at me. Let's bring back Jabril Cox because he's all right, and I like having good backup linebackers for whatever reason. And that's where we're going to end that part. And there's a decent chance I trade Kyle Fuller, I'm not going to lie. But next week to free agency and trades. Huzzah! Well, there's step one. We all know Jonathan Allen is sick of losing, and we're going to use that to get a first-round pick from the Texans. So, Jonathan Allen, enjoy playing with C.J. Stroud. We do appreciate you. So, there's another first-round pick for us. That's good, because this team needs help. Let's go find some more help. I'm trading Logan Thomas and Charles Leno also to the Texans for Brevin Jordan and a fifth-round pick. That was entirely just a salary cap saving move. Those were two of our biggest cap hits that could also get some savings if we let them leave. So there's really, it's feeling like not a lot of tradable people on this team. A lot of the big money guys, big penalties if we move on from them. Like Kendall Fuller, it'd be interesting. I might move on from Daron Payne anyways. And then just a lot of guys that don't really cost anything. Maybe I'll move Andrew Wiley just for fun. Maybe I'll move both at the same time. You never know. Nick Gates does not deserve to be getting paid like that. Anybody else getting paid a ridiculous amount? No. Hey, Chicago, you like Daron Payne? You want to give us the 9th pick? Probably not, but that's fine. Because Chicago really doesn't have that many picks. That's unfortunate. Who does, though? All right, Daron Payne, Andrew Wiley, and Nick Gates, as well as a 4th-round pick in 2026, are getting sent to the Cardinals for a 2nd-round and a 3rd-round pick this year because I want to build this team up really fast. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say with how many good players I just moved on from. It's because they were costing way too much money for what they were, and I think we can get some upgrades. The question is, do we want to rock with a guy like Baker? Probably not. Probably not. You know what we do want, though? Apparently, the Ham God doesn't really want to be here, but the Ham God wants to play football somewhere. And maybe Washington is that place. We will find out someday. Now, none of the receivers want to be here, and that makes me very sad. We do have the best offer out there for Michael Pittman, so I'm going to let that stand. Because Pittman's not a bad pickup. So we're also throwing a contract offer at Jordan Brooks. Linebacker is important for what I want to do. He's a pretty good one. I'd love to have him. Will it happen? I don't know. But it could, and that's good. All right, we only have like one starting offensive lineman on this team, so I know where I want to focus the rest of my money in free agency. Mitch Morse is kind of expensive, but it's a 1-year deal, and he's really good at the moment. So I'm okay with that, and I want to spend my only other offer for right now on somebody better at football than what our options are. If we could get the other guard spot locked up, though, that would be the correct choice. Can we? I don't really know. Let's see. Jonah Jackson, there's a good chance. So we'll go look at our signings after we eval these offers. We have one offer still out there. We got the 2 offensive linemen as well as CJ Ham. Pittman hasn't decided. So who did we miss? Jordan Brooks went somewhere else. Where? I have no clue. He went to Houston, those bastards. Baker goes to Cleveland. Houston also gets Hollywood Brown. Houston went and spent some money, man. They spent some money. Frankie Louvu could be interesting. I don't really think he's going to love my offer. Maybe I'll bump it. He wants 4 years. Oh, he's not as old as I thought. My brain thought 4 years was kind of ridiculous, but it works. We might get Frankie Louvu, and I'm pretty down for that. As well as, we need a kicker. Any of them got any interest in Washington? Brandon McManus doesn't hate us. I don't love any of the options that don't completely hate us. So, we're going to offer Cameron Dicker and just see what happens. It's kicker. Dicker kicker. Give me Dicker kicker. Thank you. And we probably need a punter, and I'll just get to work signing one so we can move on with our little lives. I don't care. Corey Bajorquez is good, but Tommy Townsend, let's go to town. Let's hope that all works, and let's just see who we cook up. Who do we sign? Michael Pittman is a commander. We don't need a receiver anymore. Our receiver room's kind of sick. O-line got some fixes. Middle linebacker's better with Frankie Louvu. And we got our special teams guys. We made big moves. We made big moves for the team. I do actually really like that. See how much better we already got? We increased 3 overalls on defense and 5 overalls on offense. Incredible. I'll see you at the draft. All right, welcome to the NFL draft. We've got the 2nd overall pick. We're probably going to get a quarterback out of that because the Bears normally pick Marvin Harrison, and they still do. I gotta look at the trade offers, though, right? It's just the rules. There's a couple. The Bears want to move up from pick 9, which is interesting. The Vikings also want to come up. The Seahawks want to come up. If anybody's offering 3 firsts, the Niners are, but that's way too big of a drop for me, dog. I'm good. None of that's better than Caleb Williams. And we haven't had him in a rebuild yet, even though we had the first pick last time, and we didn't get one of the big 2. But Caleb Williams, welcome to Washington. My boy. Welcome to Washington. Can't wait to watch you cook. I don't know when our next pick is, but I'll see you there. Roma Dunze fell to 22 to Philadelphia. Insane what this world has come to. Let's go get ourselves a left tackle, maybe. Jordan Morgan is good. Is J.C. Latham here? No. But Tyler Guyton is. And we need both, and I see more better left tackles than I see right tackles. So Tyler Guyton, welcome to Washington. And we get another pick in just a bit. So we'll head to round 2, pick 2. We have picks 2 and 4. I love that. We're going to go take a left tackle. And then our offensive line should be figured out. We're taking Kyron. I don't know. Not the best, but that's okay. He's normal dev, but that's okay. I think. It'll be fine. Now we need probably a corner. If we're being real, that's a big need for this team. And Quinion Mitchell's around, DJ Tampa. Byron Murphy is still available, and they did trade away our entire big D tackle duo. So we'll get a new big D tackle in Byron Murphy the 2nd. That's big. And now we've got the 9th pick. So that's a dub. Who is going to be, this would be the Montez Sweat replacement pick. Might not go there, though. Probably going to go with a corner because we need one. But I don't really know. Quinion Mitchell is the guy. Is he the guy for this team? I don't know. But he's the guy that we're picking. Emmanuel Forbes and Quinion Mitchell going to have to carry. And we'll head to the next bit where we'll probably try to find an edge rusher. Maybe. Edge running back would be big too. But I got to see if there's one of the great edge rushers in this class still available. And I'm not really seeing... Now, Mason Smith could be big. We're not going to have good edge rushers yet. But we could just immediately have the defensive tackle stuff figured out. Mason Smith, welcome to the squad. Thank you. Thank you. You're far too kind. Edge rusher, we're probably going to have to just sign a couple veterans right at the beginning of the season, but that's okay. We've also got pick 27 in the third round, so we're going to go make a pick with that. I don't know where to go here. Oh, actually, I do know exactly where to go. Blake Corum is the guy. Welcome to the team. We got the running back spot figured out, so that's good. I genuinely don't know what else we got to do. I know a bunch of places need fixing, but I don't know if we're getting anybody that can fix them this late in the draft. I can't pass on him again. Adonai Mitchell, dude. Oh my God. In the fourth round? In the fourth? What am I supposed to do? Say no thanks? I'm sorry. It was a must. And if one of those corners is still there, I'll pick another corner too. I ain't afraid. DJ James is there. But so is Mike Sandra still, and he is better for the squad. So corner, now done. We've figured it out. I don't know. We need a tight end. We didn't get one. Tight end's going to be rough for a year. I really don't know what else to say. Right now, I'm just kind of picking BPA. And BPA might be to just take another corner because DJ James should not be here. And I'm going to pick him. Because 4 corners is probably a good thing to have. You can never have too many with how good the receivers are in this league. Especially in our division. The Eagles have 3 sick ones. Now, anyways. And we'll take Cedric Johnson because we need an edge rusher. And maybe he can become something for us. Maybe not, but maybe. I'm really happy with the draft class we got. Okay, so our starting edge rushers are going to be Dante Fowler Jr., which actually isn't too bad. I don't completely hate that. And Deo Odenigbo. I think Deo might be like a real piece for the future here. Chad Muma is another good piece to bring in as a backup linebacker. Backup linebackers are pretty important. We're going to have Frankie Louvu. We've got Jamin Davis. So I don't hate the pickup of Muma. After looking at the roster, we have 4 linebackers. I know, only 3 start, but right now Jabril Cox would be a starting linebacker for us. And I don't exactly love that. So Jordan Hicks, welcome to the team as what'll essentially be our new left outside linebacker. And then we need some backups. I don't mind leaving them as supposedly middle linebackers, but because they all play the same position for us. Darian Beavers, he's all right, I guess. He's just a backup. That's all we're doing. And Jalen Smith, because haha, funny YouTube. I'm trading Benjamin St. Juice, DJ James, and this other safety to the Falcons for a 3rd-round pick this year. Benjamin didn't fit the team anymore. He wasn't going to play. And instead of cutting him, we got a 3rd-round pick. So I'm pretty happy with that. So for the team this year, obviously, Caleb Williams is starting at quarterback. We're going to have, I know, Brian Robinson Jr. No, we're going to have Blake Corum starting at running back. Obviously, Michael Pittman and Adonai Jr., what the hell am I saying, are going to move up respectively at what they do. Adonai's not going to get a lot of playing time, but in the 4th round, I couldn't pass up a day 1 starter receiver. Yeah, there's a world where maybe we trade somebody at the end of the season in that wide receiver room, but we're not there yet. Brevin Jordan is going to start for us. Kyron is actually looking pretty good as a starter, so I don't hate that. Mitch Morse is going to have a great time. Sam Cosme is the only offensive lineman returning from last year. Tyler Guyton's going to be pretty good. On the defensive line, obviously Dante Fowler and the Cedric Johnson, the kid we drafted. Those guys are going to be rushing the passer for us, as well as Deo. Hopefully Deo can make a big impact, and then hopefully Byron and Mason can really get into it pretty fast. I'd like them to figure out what they're doing pretty early on, because I don't want to have to deal with them all year. Frankie Louvu is going to be a starter, obviously, and then backups to be backups, as is their job. And Jamin Davis will be the other starter. Then, I forgot we had Kendall Fuller, even though I just re-signed him. But that's okay, because Quinion and Mike need a little bit of time to develop in the background. And then, obviously, we have Cam Curl and Derek Forrest, who are hopefully going to be a good safety duo. Hopefully, I'm done messing with the secondary. That's all I can say. Is hopefully we can develop these guys into the pieces that make this secondary good. Brian Robinson still does have a place on this team. And Adonai Mitchell is going to take Brown's spot. And then Jahan Dotson is going to be the other guy. Because if we can get Adonai some actual playing time, I'm down for it. Deo going to get some pass rushing time. Obviously, Byron Murphy and Mason Smith need to get in there. Frankie Louvu got to be playing alongside Jamin Davis at linebacker, and then our slot corner. For now, I'm down to put Mike, Caillou, and Quinion as our slot guys. Very down for that. And there's what we have. So I'll see you at the midseason mark. We'll see how the team looks. Okay, halfway through the season, and we're 0-7, which is not a fun place to be. Got some upgrades, though. I hope a lot are for Caleb. Caleb's got nothing. How bad has he been? That's could be not great. Oh, no. It's not even that bad. We just suck. And I don't really know why. Is our O-line awful? Oh, our O-line is in... No, it's not injured. Kyron's having a tough season. Tyler Guyton's playing okay, though. Mitch Morse is great. Sam Cosme's awesome. Our offense is bad, and I'm not 100% sure why. Yeah, I can't really figure out what a reason is that we suck. Like, have we been injured? Are we just, like, super banged up? Nobody's on the injury report. I don't get it. But all right, we are in a rough spot, so we'll see at the end of the season and see what's going on. What the hell happened? We finished the season at 8-9 and make the playoffs. The Cowboys went 16-1, which is maybe more ridiculous, but from 0-7 to 8-9, we went 8-2 to finish the season. Caleb didn't even play that incredibly. Like, Caleb had kind of a rough year. Blake Corum wasn't playing insanely. Brian Robinson carried on touchdowns, though. Dude was scoring. CJ Ham got 3. Love to see that. Like, we didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. Adonai Mitchell with 8 touchdowns. See? That was big. That was big. That was a big pickup. That was a big pickup. CJ Ham also with a receiving touchdown. Blocking-wise, Sam Cosme finally gave up a sack, so that's tough. Dante Fowler Jr. with 21 TFLs is pretty fun, Byron Murphy as a rookie got 20. Let's go. And Mason Smith with 13. Love to see that. Dante Fowler Jr. led the team with 6 sacks. As a team, we had 13 total sacks. Did we have more We had more interceptions as a team than we had sacks. Good. The secondary carried. Emmanuel Forbes with 4, Luvu with 3, Jamin Davis with 3, Cam Curl with 3, 2 from Jordan Hicks, 1 from Kendall Fuller. Dicker the kicker, awful so far. Bad signing. He's 4 for 8. He's 50%. Nearly perfect on extra points, though. How does that work? I don't really know. Yeah, offense was bad, which is not ideal, because that should be our strength. Hopefully Caleb got some upgrades now. Gonna boost him up to an 81 overall heading into this playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. First of many. We shouldn't be here, so I'm just gonna sim. And, I mean, it would be the most Minnesota thing to do to lose that. And they almost did. Cameron Dicker had to have... Oh, my God. I got to go look at the box score to this game. Wild card round. Did Cameron Dicker miss an extra point? And then we failed going for 2. Desmond Ridder is the Vikings quarterback winning them playoff games. That's just rough. The Vikings have Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, Desmond Ridder, and Jaron Hall. Ugh. Cam Akers is their running back 1. But don't worry, they still got Justin Jefferson, though, and Jordan Addison, and KJ. They kept him. Interesting. What was I checking? No. Dicker the kicker didn't miss. Oh, we had 1 touchdown and then relied on Dicker the kicker the rest of the way, yeah? I still don't... That math still ain't mathin'. There's 6 unaccounted for points from what I can tell. Whatever. We lost, but that's okay. We shouldn't have been there. So, go Minnesota. Let's root for them as they move on through the playoffs, because losing to the Super Bowl champ would be cool. But I'll go ahead and sim to the offseason. I don't think really anything big's going to happen before then. The Chiefs beat the Cowboys, so the Chiefs win again. Isaiah Pacheco gets Super Bowl MVP. Dak gets MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Mike McCarthy's Coach of the Year. Max Crosby, Depoy, Latu, and Benson are your Rookies of the Year. Incredible. Who retired? Teddy Bridgewater, Patrick Peterson, who returned to the Vikings, Micah Hyde, Mario Davis, Carson Wentz is out, Calais Campbell, Aaron Rodgers, Trent Williams, Darius Slay, Teron Armstead, Tyron Smith, Brandon Graham, Levante David, Bobby Wagner, Von Miller, Chandler Jones. That is a stacked retirement class. Look out, Hall of Fame in a few years. All right, we got to re-sign some players. Oh, we got to accept Jahan Dotson's 5th-year option. We can do that. Deal. Sam Cosme doesn't want to be here. He wants a mentor at his position, even though he's 26 and been in the league for 4 years. I really don't want to give you $17 million a year, but it'll keep you around and you're our best offensive lineman, so I'm gonna. Deo wasn't that good for us, so I'm gonna let you walk. You served your purpose, but we no longer need you. Mitch Morse, though, he's just not interested in being here, and that's okay. We'll let him walk. Brevin Jordan might not ever start another game for us, but that's okay. He can come back as a backup, because good players are good to have. Same with Chad Muma. Welcome back. So we're going to have a lot of money. So this free agency period, we need to make some big moves, and quite a few of them. We need to just hit them really hard and hope that it's good enough to go do some really good stuff. Creed Humphrey would be such a move. Such a move. any good free agent quarterbacks. None that we would want, no matter who's out there. A bunch of good receivers. Too bad we don't need a single one of those. Now, interesting. Juwan Johnson, where has he played? Is he... That's the Niner. No, he's the Saint. I forget. The Niners, Juwan Jennings. That's right. But Juwan Johnson, Tyler Conklin, no, one of these two. Tyler Conklin is going to be the answer for us for like 2 years. A weirdly large amount of money for what he does, but he'll do it okay for 2 years, and that's really what we need. We don't need a guard, but we do need a center, and there isn't a better option than Creed Humphrey. I will move mountains for Creed Humphrey. Did we move a big enough mountain? No. I'm giving him more. How much more? I don't know. A $19 million contract for a center. And it still didn't bump the offer up that much, but money-wise, it's going to be the best offer he gets, so hopefully it means something. And a tackle would be interesting, but Garrett Bowles is the only real option, and I just am not a fan. So we'll keep the young guys moving. Defensively, pass rusher would be cool. I just don't think there's anybody that sick out there. So that's... Ooh. Hassan Reddick for a year or two wouldn't be the worst. Nick Bolton would be pretty awesome. Ernest Jones, though, might be pretty cool. Because who did we lose? We didn't lose any. Oh, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. J-O-K. That is A-OK. I love it. I would love to add J-O-K. And I would love to add a Defa-Oa as an edge for this team. Oh, those moves. We're making money moves. Let me tell you. Derek Forrest, I didn't realize he was becoming a free agent. But it's okay. He didn't really scheme fit what we wanted to do. I don't really know who does. Because if I can find a safety that does what Derek Forrest did, that's an upgrade, I'll take him. A zone safety. I can move a guy like Julian Love. And that might be the answer. Because we can get 3 years of Julian Love. I'm going to try it. Oof. Expensive, but worth it. 3 years of Julian Love. Clicked the wrong button, but that's okay. We're going to get that eval'd. We got Julian, which is good. I'm going to go look at linebackers because I still think adding Ernest Jones is a bad idea, actually. Never mind. I wasn't thinking correctly about the pieces we had or the pieces we needed. So we're okay there. So Tyler Conklin hasn't made a decision yet. That's the last guy we're waiting on. He really just doesn't want to make a decision. So we'll sim without a decision from him. But we did get Creed Humphrey. We got J.O.K. We got Julian Love. And we got Oa. Which means we got big pieces that really just fix this team. I'm very excited. That's huge for us. Genuinely, this is huge. Creed's the best player on our team right now, which is interesting to say the least. Julian Love is going to move over to the other safety spot, though. So secondary-wise, we should be good for the rest of our rebuild with Cam Curl and Julian Love. And then we've got the corners getting better. Odefa Owa is going to move down to a defensive end spot. I don't really care which one, but he's going to go be a defensive end for us because we run the 4-3 instead of the 3-4. J.O.K. is going to move over to left outside linebacker. Because a bunch of people are mad that we signed guys at their position when we didn't sign them as replacements. We signed them to play those positions, but not really. They're playing in a different spot. So Davis, Luvu, and J.O.K. is huge Our linebacking core is great now. Murphy and Smith are sick and becoming better. Adefa Owa is awesome. Our offensive line is now, like, good. And up the middle, they're really good. Tight end-wise, we're not great, but that's okay. Receiver-wise, we're in an awesome spot. We're probably going to have to let him walk, which is tough. Blake Corum, we're going to need something better out of. Or we just start Brian Robinson. Either way, I think it's pretty good. So yeah, I'll see you at the draft. I'm loving how this looks. So the Patriots have the first overall pick. I'm sure they're taking Shadur, right? No, they go Bear Alexander. Incredible. The Panthers with the second pick go Michael Williams. Another edge rusher. Shadur goes to the Seahawks. Incredible. Harold Perkins, a middle linebacker, goes to the Giants in the top 5. Patrick Payton goes to the Bears. How far will Travis Hunter fall? Drew Allard goes to the Saints. The Saints love their quarterbacks named Drew. Jaheim Otis goes to the Broncos. Walter Nolan goes to the Browns. Malachi Starks. No, Travis Hunter falls out of the top 10. Insane. Here at pick 20, though, we need an edge rusher really bad. Trevor Etienne exists, though. So I hope we've found our guy. I'm struggling, man. I'm gonna take Jafari. His physicals look insane. Marvin Jones Jr.'s did too. This guy fits our scheme better and is elite at a lot of things. I'm excited. Jafari might be huge for us. Because if we have a real pass rusher now, woohoo! I want to take Colston Loveland at tight end. We need one. His physicals look awesome. He's really fast for a tight end, and I love that. I'm going to take DJ Campbell to be a backup right guard / maybe the future if Sam Cosmi leaves. And then we've got one more pick, and I'm really unsure of what to do. We're not filling any big holes with this pick, obviously. That's a sick name. We might as well add another running back. Running backs are fun. Le'Veon Moss. Dude could be the GOAT if I would have let anybody else pick him. But we're going to call that the end of the draft, and we'll see you right before the start of the season when we go over the depth chart. All right, so for this year, obviously, we've got Caleb, Blake Corum, Brian Robinson, CJ Ham. The offense not changing a lot, at least skill position-wise, other than Colston Loveland will be our starting tight end. Had to sign some backup offensive linemen, so did that. Realized that the DJ James draft pick, or no, not DJ James, DJ Campbell draft pick was a bit of a waste because Ricky Stromberg is really good, but now we got good backups. Nothing wrong with good backups. Adefa Owa is going to be starting. James Houston was a free agent, so we picked him up as well. Our right end is obviously going to be Jafari. We're going to develop him, hopefully. Byron Murphy and Mason Smith still going. Then we got JOK, Frankie Louvu, and Jamin Davis. Still got Kendall Fuller, Emmanuel Forbes, Quinion Mitchell, Mike Sandra still pretty good there. Julian Love and Cam Curler are the safety duo. Cam Dicker, Tommy Townsend, nothing changed there. And then Blake Corum and B-Rob are still going to be our not corner duo. Good God, our running back duo. Hopefully Jafari and Odefa can have a good time. Mason Smith and Byron Murphy gotta cook. JOK is going to be our main linebacker. And Mike will keep developing in the slot. So I will see y'all at mid-season, where hopefully we are on track to be as good as we were last season. And unfortunately, we're starting off just as slow. We are 1-5. That's better than 0-7. We're going to need a big turnaround to finish the year just like last time. Why is our offense still the worst? For some reason, with all these great players, it's just the worst. I'm gonna go change our scheme then, because something doesn't make sense. Well, hopefully that will mean something. Will it? I have no idea. But looking at the actual numbers, Caleb's just not throwing for a lot of touchdowns. I don't really know why. He's not throwing for much of anything. The running backs are bad. The receivers are bad. Everything's bad. Sam Cosme's playing really well, I guess. That's cool. Jafari's leading the team in sacks. That's pretty cool. Odefa Owa doesn't have a single sack. He has 9 tackles for loss, but not a single sack. It's hurting. Madden is hurting my brain. I don't know what we need. I don't know. I'll see you at the playoffs. And somehow we won the division. I don't understand Madden. Hey, we're playing Detroit again, which is who we were playing before the mid-season point. Hopefully we beat them. Caleb turned it around yardage-wise. Touchdowns-wise, he's still just not the best. But that'll happen when 29 touchdowns happen running the football, including a receiver, a third over... 30 touchdowns running the football. Colston Loveland, our tight end, got a 5-yard rushing touchdown. We had 2 1,000-yard receivers. And Colston had a great year for a rookie tight end. My God. This team, man. This team. It's weird. But here we are. Tackle for loss leader was Jafari. Sack leader was Jafari. Adefa Owa did get 2.5 sacks to finish the year. We're still not getting sacks like that, but we're getting turnovers like that. Jamin Davis with 5 picks, 4 for Kendall Fuller, and another 1 for JOK, Sandra Still, Quinion, Cam Curl, Julian Love. Dicker the kicker was better kicking this year, made more than 50%, so that's it up. All right. This is like a real playoff year, though. Like, we're gonna watch some games. We're gonna see how this goes, because this is like a real year where we should compete. I mean, as you saw, we won the division. We should be a competitive team. That's just how it works. So, let's go watch us hopefully beat the Lions. Will we? Probably not. But we're gonna try. Gonna make sure we're rocking the yellow pants. We're gonna make sure the Lions look like they did in the 2010s. Add the black accents back, and here we go. Jared Goff versus Caleb Williams. Should be a blast. It should be an absolute blast. Should be a feastable bar. All right, here we go. Go ahead and jump to the second quarter. We get a field goal. I like a field goal. My air humidifier is yelling at me. I'll go fix it in a second. Let's get through the second quarter. We get another field goal. Lions get a touchdown. And then they get a field goal to take the 10-6 lead. Oh, let's get through the third quarter. Come on, Caleb. Caleb, we need points, Caleb. Another field goal isn't good enough, Caleb. Caleb. Come on. 12-yard pass to Scary Terry. That's what you need. 8-yard pass to Michael Pittman. That's what you need. -3 by Blake Corum. That's not what you need. 3rd and 5, 4 yards to Scary Terry. So you know what we do? We go get this first down. I'm helping. Oh, Michael Pittman. That's how you read that defense, Caleb. There you go. Moving on. Come on, Caleb. A 10-yard pass to Blake Corum. A 17-yard pass to Colston. -3 by Blake Corum. -3 by Blake Corum. It's 3rd and goal. This is for the season, dog. This is for the season. It's for the season. I can't handle it. I can't dirty handle it. It is picked. No way. That's an insane play by Brian Branch. And I fucked it. Technically, we could get the ball back. We're getting the ball back. Before the 2-minute warning, Madden Sim doesn't understand how to run the clock. That's so good. 14 yards to Jahan Dotson. That was weird. Incomplete. 5 yards to Blake Corum. 12 to Colston. Touchdown. Colston Loveland. We need to go for 2, and I'm going to do it because I want to get it. Give me the 2 point. Oh, I fucked it up. I didn't fuck it up. We just didn't get it. Hey, the air purifiers. Oh, fuck. I thought it was done. All right, here we go. We got to get the ball back. Ooh, they're going to kick the field goal. Oh, no. That's so unfortunate. We're going to lose 17-15, a 2-point loss in the wild card 2 years in a row. That's unfortunate. We got one more year. We can do this. And the Lions go on to beat the Texans in the Super Bowl. Amon-Ra St. Brown is your Super Bowl MVP. Mahomes wins MVP, but Lamar gets Offensive Player of the Year. And I am confused. But here we are. Who retired? Let's find out. Khalil Mack retires. Harrison Smith retires. Kirk Cousins, Stephon Gilmore, Fletcher Cox, D-Hop. Who else? Keenan Allen, Joel Bitonio, Lane Johnson. Jason Kelsey took an extra 2 years in the game. Zach Martin, Ryan Jensen, Shaq Barrett, Eric Kendricks. Another insane retiree class. But here we go. Do we have any money? That's like the big question, because I sent a lot of contracts. Oh, we got $77 million. Oh, scary Terry. All right, I'm going to throw him a contract. Not for that long. We're going 2 years. Like 23. He would like to play for a new team, which means I'm franchise tagging him and I'm trading him. A $44.8 million salary. Jesus. Okay. Jamin Davis is a superstar X Factor. We're not going to be able to re-sign everybody, and that's terrifying. Welcome to back. Accept the option on Emmanuel Forbes. Brian Robinson's going to walk, and that's okay. Anybody else a big, important piece? We're going to have to find a new fullback. Sam Howell's going to walk, and that's okay. Kendall Fuller's going to walk, and that makes sense. He's going to regress. Brian Robinson isn't doing much except touchdowns. But he's good touchdown. And he's not wanting that much money. So deal. And then we're going to let Kendall walk, as bad as that sounds. But it's okay. We're going to go to next week. We're going to go trade Terry McLaurin. It's okay. Who's going to want him? I don't really know. We live in a weird world where we just traded Terry McLaurin for DK Metcalf straight up. It makes sense to me because it's nearly the same overall receiver, and it's going to cost us about $20 million less. So I love that. Then we're going to go trade away Jahan Dotson because he thinks he's $24 million is just insane, dog. Colts want him too. Is there a world? I'd love for there to be a world What do I gotta give up? I'm willing to move picks. Our 2 and our 3 for JT? Our 2, our 3, our 5, our 6, our 7? I don't think it's an entire draft class, but it's not enough. Because I think we're going to have to give up a 2 next year. But look, we're going into the final year of this rebuild, and I want something to show for it. And JT, huge. Huge. So that's fun. That's exciting. And we even now have some cap room to do something else ridiculous and psychotic. And there's our other big move. Brian Robinson and a first for J.C. Horn. We don't have any draft picks left for this year, but that's okay. We have fully moved on to it's time to go win, and I will see you next season because hopefully we are finally a team that can just win, baby. I'm going to sign Harrison Butker to replace Cameron Dicker. Our kicker spot has been rough for a couple years, and we're just going to fix it before it's an even bigger problem. All right, so this season, obviously, we're rocking Caleb Williams. Jonathan Taylor's going to be our running back 1. We just signed Kari Blasingame to play fullback for us. We got a weird group of receivers with the way this game wants to lay it out. DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman Jr., and Adonai Mitchell, though, is a fun group, at least to me. KJ Osborne is a guy I just signed just because backups are fun, I guess. Nothing on the offensive line changed at all. So hopefully one more year of development, and they're all pretty decent. D-line didn't change at all. Linebackers didn't change at all. It gets a little fun now because J.C. Horn is a big pickup for us. And I just made one more move that I think y'all might hate, actually. But that is Xavier Howard. He's going to be getting real reps for this team. I'm cool with it, but maybe y'all aren't. But if you're not, I guess that's fair. Jonathan Taylor is going to be the only back we use this year. I'm sorry, Blake Corum, but you lose. Adonai's going to stay in the slot, as well as now KJ Osborne, being the other slot guy. Jafari, Odefa, and Byron are going to be our pass rushers. JOK is still the main linebacker, and Mike Sandra still is going to be our slot guy. And this is it. I will see y'all at midseason to see how we're doing, and then we'll be headed to the playoffs. All right, halfway through, and we're 3-4 because why not, right? Ridiculous, dog. Absolutely hate it. Caleb's playing all right. Actually, he's playing awesome compared to normal. Jonathan Taylor, we're just not getting the rushing touchdowns we normally get, but that's okay. Adonai has yet to get a receiving touchdown. DK is useless, apparently. That's tough. Good amount of touchdowns for DK, though, I guess. We just can't get pressure. I don't know what that's about. And we're just not getting the turnovers like we normally do. So that's not great. But I am just going to keep banking on this team doing what it always does and correcting itself going into the playoffs, because that's what we've been doing. That seems to be what I can offer as a coach is, you know, halfway through the year when it feels like it's all Jover but the crying, I figure it out and we make the playoffs and don't go on a run. But hopefully this year the run changes. So I'll see you at the playoffs. So we finished 10-7 again. This time it does not win the division, but that's okay. We can go compete in the playoffs without winning the division. That's all good. How'd we do statistically? Caleb, another 4,000 passing yard season, 33 tuds. So that's his best season. Jonathan Taylor really stepped up in the second half of the year. Blake Corum still got 5 rushing touchdowns. Kari got 1, 2 for Caleb. So good rushing touchdown season. Only 1,000-yard receiver, and it was our tight end. DK had kind of a down year, but a lot of touchdowns. KJ Osborne caught a weird amount of touchdowns, and Adonai Mitchell, I don't know if he got hurt, but he was not getting the numbers this year for sure. Defensively, we never really figured out how to generate any pressure. I don't know what I need to fix for these teams, but man, has it been tough. We started to figure out the takeaways thing is the big part, and putting Harrison Butker in at kicker helped a little. I'm sure having a real kicker made a difference at the back half there. So let's go ahead and get everybody upgraded. And Colston's going up by 4 overalls, and Caleb's going up by 3. Big upgrades as we head into Carolina for hopefully our first playoff win. All right, let's hope Caleb can go ahead and finally get that first playoff win. And let's hope it goes good. We get a field goal again, and then a touchdown. Hey, couldn't do that last time. So Panthers also get one at the end of the half there. But we got that 24-14 lead going into the second half. I'm insane. I thought it was going into the fourth quarter, but it's okay. The Panthers are going to go score. And they've got the ball to start the fourth. 3rd and 4 for our defense. And incomplete. Bryce Young has to punt. So Caleb, you can go ahead and close this out. Use Jonathan Taylor. Why are we not running the football? There we go. Run the damn football. It's all big. It's all big. Run out the clock, and there's a 44-yard rushing touchdown by Jonathan Taylor. 31-21. Bryce Young storming down the field and then throws a pick to JOK. That might be the clincher for this game. The Panthers do get the ball back and do score, but we get the ball back with 30 seconds left. This game's being stupid, so I'm going to go make sure we get this, just because, see, it doesn't even want to run the clock. But that's okay. Caleb's going to take a knee and attempt a 56-yard field goal. This isn't Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. And then we'll trot our punter out there to pretend. And we will go ahead and march to the divisional round as we finally win a playoff game. All right, week 2 of the playoffs here in the divisional round, and we get a home game against the 49ers. So that's going to be less than fun. But here we go. First quarter against the Niners. Niners are going to jump out to an early lead. Caleb's going to match, and Caleb's going to start driving us down the field to try to take that lead, and we do at 10-7. Niners grab it back at 14-10, and then we take it going into half 17-14. And we get the ball first and score, make it 24-14. Then we kick a field goal to make it 27-14. This is a good start for us as we go get another field goal to make it 30-14 as we march to the conference championship. Caleb Williams, a 300-yard day in the rain against a good defense in San Fran. I feel like, just like the Vikings rebuild, we've got a good team, but I'm scared about it. That's all I'm going to say. We've built a powerhouse, and that powerhouse gets to march into Dallas in the playoffs to go make sure that the Cowboys don't make a Super Bowl. It's very important that we do it right. But we're just going to ready up and get going. All right, the first quarter sim, here we go. Caleb Williams going to march down the field and score immediately. Cowboys are going to match, though, make it 7-7 going into the second quarter. Caleb gets us a field goal, make it 14-10, 21-10. The Cowboys really putting that pressure on. We'll get a field goal before half. So it's 21-13 going into halftime. A big mistake by us lets the Cowboys have a big moment. 24-19 heading into the fourth quarter. I don't know what that big mistake was. Trayvon Diggs is going to deflect a pass, and then immediately a 28-yard reception for Colston Loveland, who might be the biggest reason we got to where we did. Nice reception for Jonathan Taylor. 6 yards for DK Metcalf. A 10-yard run by Caleb. Colston Loveland making another appearance. Caleb gets sacked by Micah Parsons, though. And then a huge play is another 28 yards to Colston Loveland. And a KJ Osborne touchdown to give Washington the fourth quarter lead. Here comes Dallas, though, trying to march down the field. And a nice throw by Dak to CD. Dak and CD's a problem, man. And the Cowboys are going to score the touchdown. 31-27. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left. Here comes Caleb. This is what you need Caleb for. Boom, 11 yards to DK. Boom, 7 yards to DK. Boom, a penalty by Colston Loveland. Boom, a sack by Micah. And it's all looking bad. Everything looks bad in Dallas. Oh, no. We need a big play, Caleb. Just like always, I'm going to try to get help. Gotta help. I can't let it end like this. I can't do it. Caleb Williams gonna find Michael Pittman, and he drops it. It's a great play by Deron Bland, but Pittman, you gotta have those. Golly. That's not good. Let's try running that the other way then. I'm going to put the fate of my season in the hands of DK Metcalf, and he's going to make the play. Let's go. All right, team. All right. I don't want to continue playing like this, but we'll throw the ball away because we were going to die. And I'm not going to try to force the Super Bowl. We just needed help. It was a big play that needed to happen. 15 yards by DK. A quick 8 to KJ. A 17 to DK. We're in striking distance. Incomplete. And sacked. 3rd and 9. Well, 3rd and goal from the 9. Oh, no. This is just the worst feeling in the world. But Colston Loveland gonna be the guy to disappoint Dallas again. Washington is headed to the Super Bowl. Wow. That would be an electric NFC Championship game. Oh, my goodness. And Caleb Williams is headed to the Super Bowl. I'm excited. We're just going to sim the Super Bowl out. I'm not going to try to force the win like that. I think the rebuild's been accomplished by making it to a Super Bowl. I think that's a dub. And we needed that coming off the rough Bears rebuild. Caleb Williams versus Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Here we go. This is how we do it. La da 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 da. Gotta make sure Washington's wearing the yellow pants. The yellow pants is important. Here we go. Caleb and Mahomes. One everybody thinks might happen in real life, well, at least if you have a brain. Lots of people hating on Caleb. I don't get it. But here we go. First quarter. What do? The defense gives up a touchdown. But then we score a touchdown. So it's 7-7 into the second quarter. Chiefs score a touchdown. Something bad happened to us twice. 14-7 at halftime. That's okay, though. Because here we come. 14-10. 21-10 going in to the fourth is just tough. Come on, Caleb. Bang. A 30-yard touchdown pass to Jonathan Taylor. 21-16. Here we go. Mahomes and Isaiah Pacheco. They go tit for tat with Caleb. And there's a run by Mahomes for a first down. Our defense cannot stop my homeboy. And Sam Cosmi commits a penalty. Oh, no. It's so Jover. Come on, offense. Come on, offense. Yeah, touchdown. Can we get the stop? We cannot. 28-23 as Caleb falls short in the Super Bowl, but I don't think he fell short. He went toe-to-toe with Mahomes, hit him for 297 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, he had a pick. So did Mahomes. Isaiah Pacheco held the 2.4 yards a carry. Jonathan Taylor had 4.8, but we were down so much we couldn't use him. Travis Kelce, man, just bullied us. Colston Loveland tried his best. KJ Osborne had a touchdown. Brevin Jordan had 1 catch for a touchdown. Oh, man. Our defense just couldn't get any pressure, and that's what ruined it. But, man, this team is there. We're ready. We're going to be in this conversation for a long, long time. I'm going to call that a success. What happened to gaming as a whole? From 2015 to 2021, gaming seemed to have reached its peak with games like Grand Theft Auto 5 releasing and subsequently Grand Theft Auto Online. You had Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which was by far the biggest Call of Duty game, at least online, and most talked about of all time. You had the release and initial hype of Fortnite. You had the true explosion of Minecraft happen in this period of time. You had releases of other incredible single-player experiences, God of War being one of them. This was a period in time where gaming as a whole felt more cohesive. Going online with your friends was something you did every day. You didn't question what you were going to play. You didn't question if you wanted to play something. You got online. You played Fortnite. You played Blackout when it was a thing. You played the initial version of Warzone. You played Black Ops 3 Zombies. You played Minecraft. You played Grand Theft Auto Online. And then if your friends got off, you played games like God of War. And you had an absolute blast. The views on YouTube and Twitch and Mixer and Facebook Live were popping. What happened to that? What changed with the majority of video games? I saw somebody talking about Anno. And I've never played Anno. I don't know much about it. But Anno 1800, they were talking about how it's a game where all of the DLC and all of this extra paid content, all of their microtransactions actually added something to the game. They felt like they were made as a labor of love. They felt like they mattered. When you look at every game now, all of the microtransactions feel like they are just there to take your money. Even games like Fortnite, which are free, so the microtransaction system is different to me. I think it's a system for microtransactions when you pay $70 for a game needs to be different than when a game is free. If you want to buy skins in a free game, go for it. Maybe don't go too crazy. I know I'm guilty of that too, but in a free game, it's different. But now we're getting $70 releases with daily $20 skin packs that in most games, you can't even see what the skin looks like because you're playing a first-person shooter. That's stupid. Now, this prime era of gaming is where things like that started. Black Ops 3 was a major proponent of this becoming a thing with supply drops. Supply drops were atrocious. They were the worst system possible. Fortnite became this, but it's weird. Fortnite started as every skin seemed like there was a lot of effort and a lot of care put into it. Now it feels like they're just constantly slapping things out, and some of them are collabs, which make them extra money, but they don't feel like a labor of love anymore. Games are releasing now more broken, with less content, but more microtransactions. Games no longer have that labor of love feeling. They feel like they are slapped out just to make money. My biggest example of this for a recent game is Baldur's Gate 3. The reason people fell so in love with that game is because the studio that made it actually gave a shit about the game that they were producing. Yes, it took so many extra years for it to finally release. It was supposed to release in like 2019. Who cares how much extra it takes if the effort is put in? And they released a nearly fully polished game. Yes, we waited a couple of years to get crossplay at the end, but when they initially made that game, crossplay was not a thing. It not only wasn't a expected part of gaming, it was not a thing in gaming when they started creating this game. They had to build that in later. And trying to make the systems match could not have been easy and would have taken a bunch of extra time. But they're not going to release any DLC, whether paid or free. There is not going to be updates with more content. Patch 8 came out. Baldur's Gate is done. And it's basically in the state that it came out at. We got a few extra evil endings and an extra subclass that I think was just cutting room floor stuff that they decided to polish and hand out as one last hurrah for the game. And they're never going to touch it again. And people still actively play that game constantly because you can feel how much they loved it. Look at a game like Black Ops 6. Every time you play it, you feel how rough and unpolished it was. You feel how hollow that game is. And it's a Call of Duty, they're all hollow. There's a difference. You could feel in games up through Black Ops 3 and even through Infinite Warfare, you could feel a labor of love in them. You could feel that the developers cared. They don't care anymore. I don't think this is an entirely developer problem. I think this is a studio problem. Activision wants to make an infinite amount of money with Call of Duty, and the best way to make money is through skins and microtransactions. People will inevitably pay no matter what. But that's not a good thing. And it absolutely tarnishes what gaming is. And it's the reason so many people have fallen out of love with gaming. It's the reason that getting on with your friends now sometimes feels like a chore. It's because none of these games feel like they have that passion behind them, which makes it hard for you to put the passion into them as a player. Gaming's not dead. It's nowhere close. But gaming as it was from that time period of 2015 to 2021 or so, we won't see that again. And it's because the companies, the executives, the money-hungry people now outweigh the creatives at all of these studios and at all of these publishers. All that matters now is the money aspect. And as always, the money aspect has killed something great. There will always be games like Baldur's Gate 3. There will always be companies like Larian. Larian might be that company through and through to their core. That's from everyone I've heard speak, from their CEO down. They care about gamers. They care about making good games. They care about the projects they work on. Companies like that will continue to exist. Games like Baldur's Gate 3 will continue to exist. The issue is the main players, Activision, Ubisoft, EA, we're never going to see that from them again, and that is the saddest thing. We did not witness the death of gaming, but we did witness the death of major game studios. We witnessed the passion fall out of them. And I don't think that's on the devs. I do think the actual developers in the building care. But they also are getting fired the minute their games release. So maybe they don't. At least not working for these triple A companies or these quadruple A companies, since that's what Ubisoft wants to call themselves now. The only way that it can ever go back is if people start speaking with their wallets instead of just yelling. You can't just yell about Call of Duty not being good anymore, and you can't yell about how stupid the skins are, but then pay for them. You have to stop buying them. You have to speak to these companies the only way they can hear you. Stop giving them money. Stop buying packs in Madden and FIFA and MLB The Show. Stop buying skins in any game that's not free. And even in games that are free, don't buy so many. Force the care to be put back in these games. Developers listen to where the money is. If you stop buying every crappy collab in their video game, they will get better. That's how that works. Push them to make better content. When a new thing comes out for Call of Duty and it's bad, stop playing it. Don't play it for 10 hours. Play it for a bit, realize it's bad, and go play a game that's better. They will see the drop in numbers and they will change. That is the only way we get back to where we want to be. That's how we save gaming. But I don't think it'll happen. This started with Bethesda 20 years ago with horse armor and WoW. And this is where it's gotten us to a state where we have to wait multiple years between releases of games that truly have care put into them. It's like I'm a YouTuber, dog. Yes. Oh, fuck. Alright, I'm coming.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I wish. Damn. This is like the gayest I've ever been, and I like dudes.
I like dudes. Is an incredible comment. Fuck!
Out. Fuck. Drew Brees.
Jesus. But if I have to end and have to go, I have to end and have to go. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't fight
Jenna and I were talking about
if the firefighters can't fight the fire, trust me, I can't either.
We were actually saying, like, we don't understand why you're still sitting here streaming. I'd be fucking figuring out.
Because, okay, if we're not evacuated yet, it doesn't do me any good to leave. And ending the stream, what, so I can just sit there and worry about the fire? Being on stream will help keep me distracted from it until I get the text from Wonder that says, hey, dumb bitch, leave. And I'll go, sir, yes, sir, and I'll leave.
Right, that's fair.
Never mind, I am ending stream. We'll come back when we come back. Caps off the email with much love. Dog, giggity, giggity, go fuck yourself. I do. Here.
Spike down A. Target down.
Cooking.
I'm gonna take the zip over.
Oh no, something happened. I don't like it. I'm scared.
Tuesday Geekin'.
Tuesday Geekin'.
Where's the spike at? Oh, I see it.
Behind us. Yoru's gonna teleport to it. Watch it.
Next. Yep. I'm watching Spike.
He's teleporting around me. He got Spike. He's gone. Fuck you, kid. My ace.
Gotta call him out for you.
Let's go! What did I just miss, though? No. Oh, no. I'm getting on the ship.
Countdown initiated. Stand by for takeoff.
Wonder. Get stuck. Oh, my God.
I'm stuck.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God.
Wonder, why do you keep diving, you fucking idiot?
It won't let me in!
Because you dove past it, you moron.
Because I was stuck.
No, you were stuck the first time. Then you got up and then you dove again. Right by the door. Dumbass. Me first. I was blind.
Plant, dude.
Oh my God.
Not there.
You should run.
You can't plant there.
Out here.
One enemy remaining. 4 in the dark.
And they're gonna get KJ'd. I'm coming back. I'm sorry.
He's under me.
Last player
Underneath.
I have 2 HP though.
Nice.
50.
Yeah, baby.
Ah!
How does it feel to be wrong all of the time?
I don't know, Miller. Shouldn't you be answering that?
No, you can't throw it back at me. You're unoriginal.
Whoa, why would he throw it back on you?
That's what Miller wants. He's just mad that
Throw
I
it back
won't
on
do
me,
it.
please, 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 please.
Jesus.
I'd like to cast guidance on Steven for his charisma roll to get Geek to throw it back on him.
Don't think it'll work. Legendary resistance.
Legendary resistance to what? Throwing it back?
Charisma check.
Wow, Geek sent me a snap.
Oh, who knew?
Oh, yours is long.
Phrasing! How are you eating it, though? What the fuck do you mean, how am I eating it? I think I'm just gonna unhinge my jaw and shove it down my throat.
I feel like the Sex Pistols.
One enemy remaining.
My ace?
Yep.
Cook 'em!
You bitch, no!
Oh, I didn't need to run. Oh, there's a whole fight. Stop sign fight. I'm witnessing a murder. Let's go. Oh no.
I can't help you because I don't have a shovel.
Artie, you gotta grab the body.
He's dead.
Yippee!
There more or no? Yep.
No. Yes?
Yep.
Oh.
I got him.
Go
You're
on,
good.
Kevin Steven.
Start rezzing.
Oh,
Yep.
I got my back shots.
All right.
Whoa.
What?
Good boy.
You know what?
Oh, don't do that. we're gonna stop that. For
He's
right
too
now.
into that, apparently.
Yes. And it's
okay.
very
Hello. Oh my god. I might be the worst.
Okay, you're good. You're good. You're good. Reset. Here we go.
Oh,
Nice.
only one.
Refreshing. One enemy remaining.
Nice.
That's 3.
Oh, you bitch.
She,
You
okay,
will
she's
not
gonna
kill
rest.
my
Yeah, that's fine.
allies.
That's
It's
fine.
fine.
Oh.
Like I never left. One enemy remaining.
Oh my god. Fucking god.
Today, not
Get out of my lobby.
Dude, I had a dream. Honesty,
Oh
I had a
god.
dream.
I'm so scared.
No, nothing bad.
All people were created equal.
No, like, what was I gonna say? Oh no,
Timing
so
of all of that was so awful. Oh my god.
I had to train this dude at work, and it ended up being undercover boss for my company, and he gave me like $10,000.
Oh, nice. Hey there, Geek Squad. My homie Eero has a brand new episode of Roll for Wrestling over on his YouTube and Spotify channels for his totally awesome wrestling podcast, Hit the Go Home. How do I... You should totally go listen now. Oh, God, I'm gonna die. Oh! Okay. I totally had time to read that, guys. Totally had time. All right, now we go up. Because this way, we kind of force those fuckheads to fight. Fuck! We're gonna reload, because I was not remembering that happened.
There's the TikTok.
So apparently there's traps. Walk carefully.
Yeah? I was like, what? What's that sound? And then...
Okay. Hi, Wonder.
Hello there.
If I would
couldn't tell you that I locked him in there.
Yeah, that would have been nice to know. Ouch.
I wanted to scream at you, don't open that door!
I would have not opened a single door all game. Tried to kill yourself slowly and it shows.
I did.
Well, I'm not talking about you, obviously.
Oh.
I'm trying to allow you to continue doing it.
If you gotta remember, I'm not necessarily the intended audience.
Oh dear God.
If it applies to you, it doesn't count.
Okay, you're right.
This is what happens when I put two autistic people in a room
I'm gonna
together.
go try again. I'll be right back.
Like 3 days ago, we got a car right here.
It was not yesterday. But
3 days ago, yesterday. What's
car?
What's the difference? Oh.
I knocked one. I got sniped.
Oh my God, I'm dead. I don't
This
know
guy's
what
not
just
missing.
happened, dude. What the fuck?
We got dick stomped. That's what
No,
happened.
the car
I died.
exploded, landed on the ground, and then I launched 8 miles away. I don't know what. I never. What the fuck?
Guys.
We are at El Indio, and this is adjacent to Old Town, San Diego. It's right on the backside of it. This is what's called a brick.
Like,
Jesus. California burritos, it's kind of like it's not like authentic Mexican food. It's kind of like, it's kind of what they call gringo Mexican food. You know what I'm saying? It's got the French fries, the carne asada, the pico de gallo, if you choose, the guacamole, and sour cream. It's all mixed up. So it's kind of an adventure and a bite, you know? It's a big burrito, it's hefty, and you get your money's worth, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would say so. It's so large. Why?
Hey, pause. Sometimes the French fries are like those thick. I've seen some places put those steak fries inside of it as well. When you get the kind of like the skinny fries, I like that better.
There's a dog.
There's a dog.
I love that they'll never see that there's a dog, and that's funny.
Yeah, and this looks like I'm playing with myself down here.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, that's an intro. Especially since today we're, putting a... He's playing with himself, and we're putting a viscous white substance in our mouth.
Don't like that. Could have phrased it a little different, but...
No, I meant to do it that way.
Wham, blam, thank you, ma'am.
Wham, blam, coming Sam.
My name is Sam. That's crazy.
Better flip over real fast. Ah! Don't cut inside, you idiot. Oh, I hate Jackson Smith and Jigba's a Jackson Smith moron.
Okay.
Crazy, bro.
Oh, he's fucking stupid, bruh. Oh my God, Gino, touchdown! Seattle wins! Gino's not a moron. He's not a Jackson Smith moron.